You know,
What's going on, man?
I'm a little
Frank Starfire.
nice to meet you.
And, I'm a simple guy, and I live my life by really simple means, you know what I mean? And, I live by simple mottos and credos and phrases and everything, because it works for me, you know what I mean? Lately, I've adopted a new
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Frank Starfire, and this here is the Just to Be Frank podcast. What's going on with you? I appreciate you for joining me as ever. This is a somber one. I just was perusing, and unfortunately I have to say rest in peace to the late great Paul Mooney. If you don't know who Paul Mooney is one of the greatest stand-up comics writers of our history, man. He wrote for Richard Pryor. He wrote for just about anybody you could think of, man. It'll be sorely missed because his take on life was you gotta hear it to understand. But either way, let me jump right into this. This episode is very special for me. She's actually one of the reasons I sort of started this joint right here. So allow me to introduce to you forensic toxicologist, innovator, inventor, creator of Xanthene's Cafe line of products, writer, teacher. Listen, top 3 smartest humans I know on planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? And I love her to death. And she about to school us to a bunch of shit. So let's get it, y'all. Welcome to Tamykah Anthony, y'all. There we go. That's better.
Cool.
That's better.
It's a new laptop, so this is my first time using Zoom on here.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, well, first of all, I love your earrings. I love the head wrap. You know what I'm saying? That they're giving me such life.
All female businesses, female businesses.
That's did you make those?
No, I actually supported 2 women with this. This head wrap is from, I don't know if you know Empress AK on Instagram.
Yeah.
I did an event with her in Brooklyn and she was vending, so I got this. And then a friend of mine, her name is Shakamona I'm gonna mispronounce her name, but she handmade this one. So
okay,
I figured out.
This is Just Be Frank podcast. We mispronounce shit all the time sometimes, so it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm actually trying. This is the first time I'm trying this setup. Right. I had to get a new computer today, so I'm just trying. So this is like the first time anybody's actually seen the whole set.
Wow, nice. A lot going on. I like it.
Thank you. I mean, I'm looking at
my brain.
Huh?
I said it looks like my brain.
Well, it's pretty much, it looks like my brain too, actually. That's why it looks, this is a reflection of what I got.
Love it.
Thank you, man. So, I was telling the people, man, unfortunately, I just found out Paul Mooney died.
I know.
Like, come on.
You know what's crazy is I was, the last time I saw him, I think I was at like Dr. Sebi's, one of Dr. Sebi's like events that his family did. Mm-hmm. And I saw it, and I'm pretty sure him and I were in a documentary together called New Panther, A Call for Action. I could be wrong. We didn't like record it together, but like Sage Love, the director for that, I'm pretty sure we were in the same thing, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong a lot these days, so it's possible.
I don't have anybody to Google fact check that right now, so we're going to go with sure, why not? And we'll see you later.
Yeah, I was just watching the old what was it, the Dave Chappelle shows, and I literally just seen it. I was like, yo, he is really funny as shit.
Yeah.
And then I heard that today. Do you know how? Like, do you know the?
I know. I don't know anything. Unfortunately, I just caught it as I was scrolling through to get to this. Same. So I saw it. I'm like, well, damn, that that's touching and heartbreaking all at the same time.
Well, he's an ancestor now. That's how I look at it.
Facts.
Power, like, like Chadwick Boseman. Like, whenever somebody dies like that, it's kind of like we should feel a little bit more enamored,
a little bit more powerful. You
And
know
now
what I
that
mean?
we know he's watching, so we got to be a little extra careful about what we're doing.
I hope he don't watch all the time because I do disgusting things sometimes. I don't think I want people noticing. I feel that way when I think about my moms and my grandmoms. They've all transitioned, and I'd be like, yo, there's sometimes I hope y'all are just like ignoring me. Please ignore me sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Like a bad Black Mirror episode. If they ever get
man. You know what? I have to actually watch that.
No, you need to watch that. Like
everybody
episode.
I'm one of those people that kind of I wait till the hype dies down before I get into anything.
I've seen Game of Thrones, never seen The Walking Dead,
Walking
never seen Breaking Bad.
Dead, I watched the first 4 seasons or so.
3 episodes of Power. Like
I've never seen Power. I've never seen.
I watched Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Okay, that's classic.
I watched the Columbo. I just rewatched the entire 10 seasons of Columbo. I still watch Jessica Fletcher.
One more thing. Hey, I got one more question.
One more thing, right.
One more thing.
I like simpler times. I like, like Twilight Zone, but like the original Twilight Zone.
What's your favorite Twilight Zone episode?
Oh, dang. Oh,
I have 2.
I lied. I think it was one when they were like replacing people's bodies, like
okay. I know, yeah.
It was like aliens replacing people's bodies or something like that. I think that's the one I liked.
Mine was there's 2. The first one is about the dude who worked at the bank and he went into the vault because all he wanted to do was read his books. Some nuclear holocaust happened. He's the last person left. He got all the books here at the library. He's chilling and he steps on his glasses.
Oh my God.
On his glasses.
You know what? That was one of the really well-written ones, but it was like a sad episode for me. I felt so happy. And he's like trying to like look through his glasses, trying to like see something.
Oh my God, so much time.
I know.
Much time. I had time.
I just seen that one.
That's one of my favorite episodes. And then the other one is the one with Telly Savalas. It's called Living Doll, with the little girl who gets the doll. My name is Talking Tina, and I don't like you. That's why I don't like dolls now.
Yeah, I think that's where like Chucky came from, because like that was
definitely.
And I looked at even like the Alfred Hitchcock. I'm watching them and I'm realizing that a lot of movies, a lot of shows now came out of concepts from those shows.
Well, nothing's new.
Yeah, even Columbo was on one of the episodes of Alfred Hitchcock. So like,
a character or
he was a character, like old Peter Falk. He played like a gangster that like had done something, and he was like running away from some other gangster. But it wasn't one of my favorite episodes. I was just happy to see him, in here. And I like to look at things in black and white.
Oh yeah,
it's like less distracting. It's less distracting. It's more beautiful. It's more like using your imagination.
Well, that's why I like reading.
I watch stuff by myself. So because people think that like the stuff that other people watch, I don't like. And the things that I watch, people like, you watch Murder, She Wrote? I'm like, yeah.
Jessica Fletcher, B. Come on. Like, listen. If that's for me, I'm not here.
That was my alarm. But like, no, like it just shows me the patterns, right? Plus, I like to watch old stuff because I like to watch how we're portrayed. Because I realized that a lot of shows that I watched when I was younger had a lot of like racist undertones to them that I didn't pay attention to because I wasn't aware of them until like I'm an older person now, right? So when I watch certain like Jessica Fletcher episodes, I can really respect her character because I can tell even in those times where she could have gotten they could have gotten a pass because of the times for allowing her character to be in a certain, whatever, they really did it. Like she was like strong woman, like about the people, you know what I mean? Outspoken. And I'm like thinking, what did women think about when they were watching? Like, how was she viewed then? because I'm sure now a lot of people still have a problem with her being, you know, like as outspoken and as, you know, the thing that a lot of women get persecuted for now. So I'm like, I wonder what they were thinking about, like when they watched her.
I can only speak to it from watching my mom watch that show. Right. So my mom loved Murder, She Wrote. All right. She loved that show. And to her, Jessica Fletcher was like, she loved people who were smart and didn't back down and stood up for what was right. My mom believed in that heroism thing. Like all the novels she read that I wound up reading, there was like always a heroic arc to it. Like the hero, you know what I'm saying? And the protagonist, and that, you know, and that's before I ever knew what the heroic journey was, you know what I'm saying? As far as it's always been written, I didn't know what it was, but I noticed that, they go through so much shit and they come out on top. And that's how the hero is always defined. Like they always fight through it. And I'll tell you another funny story. My mom hated Vanessa Williams to the day she died. My mother.
Tell me why though. I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you exactly why. Because they put out those nude photos of her after she won Miss America and they took her crown from her. And my mom was fucking tight about that shit forever. Ever. Like, to the day she died, I hate that bitch. And now, mind you, I've seen the photos and I also know that they were released after she won to capitalize on, like, I know how marketing works now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had those photos for years and then decided to put them out. She shouldn't have lost her crown for it, but I respected my mom's, I understood why she was mad. Like, because there was nobody like her before that. You are Miss America. You are a Black woman as Miss America. And then because you wanted to do some porny shit, you got your joints taken away. And quite frankly, they were tasteful nudes.
I mean, honestly, I heard about, but didn't see. See, my history is kind of split because even though I have peers that like we're the same age, because I came to the country when I was 8, there's a significant part of my childhood that I didn't experience certain things that people my age experience. Right. So sometimes it's like, why don't I feel this way? And it's like, why didn't I hear about that? And I realized I wasn't even in the country. I wouldn't have been hearing about it. Right. So I heard about a lot of stuff, you know.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but speaking of your country, how is everything over there?
It is crazy. Like I grew up where I grew up in my village, Tamykah, in the like leeward side of St. Vincent on the mainland, because it's St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Right. So there's a mainland of St. Vincent, and then there are these islands that are called the Grenadines. Right. So I grew up on the mainland, very tiny village. I mean, like so tiny that you get your ass whipped from school all the way home from people, you know, because they're like, your grandmother shouldn't have to beat you. We're gonna help her out, kind of thing.
Right. Oh, that happened here too.
Yeah, I heard. We don't have 911 down there, so
we didn't have it back then either.
You're right. Actually, you're right. And I could see the volcano from my grandmother's, from her like front porch. Okay. Like it was a lot of pictures that I have of my grandmother's front porch when my daughter went down, the volcano is right in the back. And I was always fascinated by it, like growing up, because I heard these stories because it erupted in 79, I believe. My mom was like a teenager, and my grandmother, you know, like my family that are older, they remember. And so I heard all these stories about, you know, like it erupting, and they had to go for shelter, and they had to go here. And so it was like this thing that you hear about, but like you just never think that it's, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna happen again. And granted, no one, from what I know, no one passed away like in 79 when it erupted that time. Right. But it created a lot of like, people had to rebuild a lot. Yeah. Right. So when I started hearing about it, I think in like October of 2020, November, October, when it was like, they're like, it's becoming active. Right. I was like, holy shit, like it became really real. But then it was just kind of like, you know, showing some seismic activity, but then coronavirus was happening too. So it was like, you know, like that was like a smidgen, a blip, like until it became something, it was like, all right, let's not go too crazy. So in my mind, I felt like the government was already preparing for certain things, right? Because if you're saying that it's going to erupt eventually, I felt like there should have been certain things already in place.
Yeah.
So when it started erupting and they're evacuating people now, right? And I'm hearing like word that they're saying that people can't get on these boats because the neighboring islands had said they'll take, people that are evacuating on their island to take them to safety.
Right.
And so people like going to these boats and not getting let on the boat because they're telling them that they have to be vaccinated to get on the boat. But this wasn't knowledge that was spread prior.
Right.
That's when I started realizing, yo, it's like a world setup.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why would they do that? Right? Like, why? Like, now I have to choose between definitely probably dying if I'm in the red zone of this volcano, right?
Right.
And taking a vaccine. You know what I mean? Like, it just
that doesn't help. Yeah, it don't feel right.
It don't feel humane.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
All.
Like, let's put some money. Let's put some money into the masks. Let's get some extra masks. Let's get whatever. But I don't think that was the time and space to bring that up when people have already left their homes with the clothes on their back.
Right.
It just felt a crazy setup. And then, we were hearing about bad, conditions in the shelters and them being not like they're not having supplies and not food. So my mom.
Hold on, I lost you a little bit there.
Decided that she wanted. Hold on, let me see. Is it mine?
Yeah. I think I lost you.
Spectrum. Blame on Tom Water, aka Spectrum.
Yeah, I believe that. They suck.
Have a monopoly over here where I know. You only get it, but then it sucks. So.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So my mom decided we were going to send this crate. We had to actually build. Well, I didn't. Let me not even throw myself in there. My uncle, my great uncle, is like excellent at building. He's a carpenter, and so he actually built the shipping crate.
Okay.
He built it. Then they rented a U-Haul, placed the crate on the U-Haul, and then packed it on the U-Haul so it could get shipped.
Nice.
So I put it out, for donations and things like that. And I'm grateful the community really, came through. We're still collecting. Right now we're focusing more on clothes.
Okay.
Because see, when the volcano erupts, it created this space where like it was like raining ash.
Right.
And so imagine now, like you're walking outside and
you're breathing in ash.
Right. So now masks are not just important for coronavirus. Now they're important because it's to help people.
Yeah.
And
now you need the ones with filters because you need the filtration to get out of there. Right. That's why I sent something and it had a few flashlights and the headlamps so they could see through the ash. Because I thought about that, like, hey, I know enough about volcanic activity to know what can happen in a volcano. And
guess what? Then it rained, and it rained a lot. And so my country, as beautiful as it is, it's just such a spiritual land, right?
Yeah.
But it's mountainous. So when it rains, and now the volcano has already shook the earth. Right. Now the earth is kind of like unstable. Now it rains and everything starts sliding.
Yeah.
So people literally were going to sleep in their homes, waking up, and their homes are not where their homes are supposed to be. You get what I'm saying? Because it's moved. Their house is now somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's not even an exaggeration. That's real.
No, I believe it.
They're going out to get supplies, coming back, and they have no house.
Right.
It's been kind of difficult, watching the footage and, seeing all the stuff that's happening. I just try to, you kind of focus on the things you can control.
Yes.
And I have a habit of over analyzing and overthinking and over this. And then sometimes that creates a stagnation.
You over there? No.
All day long. It's like, what can I do? What if I create this charcoal filter people put in their windows so that the dust, my brain was going that way. But then I realized I am one person.
Right.
And so what can I do within my capacity? And at the same time, I have this belief that of balance, right? Always the universe always searching for balance, right? And so there are people down there that they have no control over their situation, meaning whatever they're experiencing, right? I am not experiencing that. And so it wouldn't be right for me to encompass all of those emotions that they're encompassing, because that wouldn't create the balance that's needed.
Right.
So in my mind, Mother Nature is like, yo, I don't know what to do with these people. They done been fucking up. Talking about us, all these earthlings.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah, I know. I know.
I want to kill them, start over, wipe them. I don't know what I want to do. I'm in my bag. I'm in my field. Right? That's how I think about it. This is how I talk to God.
All
and
right, so I'm gonna tell you a funny story about that. So one time, so now I'm you know, like I said in the introduction, you know, you're one of the top 3 most intelligent humans I personally know.
Oh man, no pressure.
You know what I'm saying? So you might be able to appreciate this on a scientific level, right? So I tried the psychedelic salvia once, right? I'm okay with psychedelics. I think psychedelics are a wonderful thing.
I'm a scientist. We believe in all of that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Dr. Carl Hart, I fucks with that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I believe psychedelics are a good pathway of usage. I think DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is fantastic. I think shroom, psilocybin they're good. You know what I'm saying? When used properly and in the correct.
I mean, the pharmaceutical company uses them.
Come on, we know that
in a watered down synthetic version. So yes.
So I tried salvia once. Now this was 2007.
Oh, okay.
So during that trip, I remember it completely, the earth yelling at me, cursing me out, screaming at me, telling me, it's your fault. It's all your fault. You're to blame. What the fuck? It's your fault. And then started chewing me with giant skyscraper teeth. So
wow.
Yeah, that was the fun part. That was the fun part. Now, once I got off the fluoride and I started like deep diving into my brain a bit more, I came to realize that and as I came to understand how energy works, you know what I mean, to a degree, I came to realize like the earth wasn't just yelling at me. I was just getting yelled at by proxy. I was the only one on the earth's wavelength at the time that could hear it. So that's why I got it. I got it all. But yeah, she's mad. She's angry. And we are the problem. The problem is...
I feel it. I feel it very strongly. I don't even need the psychedelics. I promise you. The shit that I be seeing and feeling and going through is like, that's why I stay by myself so much. It's very difficult to explain to everybody.
Well, you're an empath.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
me too.
At the same time.
Me too. This is why I moved to the mountains with nature.
I know. I'm a Taurian, and that is calling me. That's my next move.
Telling you, I'm a Leo. I like nature. It's good out here.
Yeah. I need things that I can like that are not people censored.
Yeah.
I don't vibe well with everybody.
Yeah, no.
Like everybody vibes well with. I don't vibe well with everybody because of the empathic, like nature of like who I am. I absorb pain, specifically pain. I absorb it very, very easily, and I'm learning how to kind of
let it out,
filter, and control and release. So I'm kind of like a reservoir for pain.
I find
it's rough.
Physical activity.
I learned the bike. I learned to ride a bike 2 days after my 36th birthday, and I've been on a bike almost every day ever since. It is like a very freeing activity. Yes, go ahead. I'm sure I've heard the question you're about to ask. But go ahead.
All right, so I'm 38. All right, I'm not much older than you. I learned how to ride a bike, but again, I lived here, so I get it. I get it. But you just learned how to ride.
I turned 36 on April 26th, and I learned how to ride a bike on April 28th.
It was funny. My girl's birthday is April 1st. My grandmom's birthday is April 25th, or was April 25th. So,
both.
You know what I mean? Yeah. One's an Aries, one's a Taurian, but I love y'all to death. But that explains a lot. But I do find that nature helped me out tremendously because I had a lot of angst and anxiety and all that coming from out of New York when I moved up here. So it was a very different transition, but I I'm more acclimated to it now. Now I can go outside in the backyard. I've got a greenhouse. I've got plants growing. I've got, I've got nature all around me. So it's easy to just kind of go touch a tree and just let it go.
Yeah, that is what I do. Like, because I feel like whenever I get confused, people always say like, you're a scientist, so you're not supposed to believe in God, or you're a scientist, so ... These preconceived things that they come up with that tell me who the fuck I am, right?
People are stupid.
Yeah, they are. They are. And, I'll use ignorant.
Yeah, there you go.
Even though in Latin, it means the same damn thing.
It really does.
In fact, nice means stupid too in Latin.
I like,
That's why I'm not nice.
I like to look at the root word. I like to look at the root word, ignore, ignorant. That means you're ignoring facts. So you're just willfully allowing yourself to be dumb.
Yes.
I can't abide that.
The cognitive dissonance situations, you know?
Yeah.
But I really am realizing that we as a people, we are very out of touch with ourselves because we're out of touch with nature, right? And so as a scientist, it's like when I became a scientist is when I really got my close connection with God. Right. Because when you start really like understanding how things work and seeing like the divine nature of stuff, like looking at a leaf and seeing the symmetry in it and how it comes out the same every single time, like all of these, like the differences in DNA and adaptation, and just like, it's like a whole, like, outpour of all this information. And when you download all of it into yourself and then apply it to yourself, you realize, holy shit, there has to be some, you know what I'm saying? Like some divine something, right? I have to also be a part of that, right? I'm not separate from that. I have to be a part of that.
I agree.
Right. So that's why, like, when I was little, Sunday school was not for me. I think I got kicked out of Sunday school a couple of times because I always had these questions. Like, here's my thing. Like, you got to pray and all of that good stuff. All right. So say I'm praying real hard for it to rain tomorrow because I want my plants to grow. But my homegirl is praying hard for it not to rain because she just got her hair done.
Right.
She got a job interview and she don't want her hair to mess up.
Right.
We both pray for 2 hours, sit on the floor praying, going in, chanting the whole whatever, however people do what they do. Who's God going to pick?
Right.
Right. And then somebody told me like, oh, first of all, the he thing throws me anyway, but like he is going to decide ultimately what he wants to do. And I'm like, wait, so it don't matter if we pray or not. He's still going to do what he want to do. We all rest in our whatever on a dude. We messed up. It's a wrap. It's over. Like he's still going to choose what he wants to choose anyway. That means that it doesn't matter how much I pray. So that means that both things can't be correct.
Right.
Right. And if he picks her or me, like we both pray the same amount of time. Like, so what, like, how does that work essentially?
She's probably way more devout than you are, or she wasn't wearing two different garment fabrics or whatever dumb shit they're gonna pull out.
She's not as outspoken as you. She know how to keep her mouth shut, or it's always something to justify why this and why not that. And I feel like that's what religion does. It gives people this like crazy anxiety and always makes them feel like they're not good enough.
And that's why I don't believe in it.
Like you are enough.
So happy.
Like you're in it.
And I'm so happy.
Like, listen, like I can't. I mean, there's certain things that I resonate with, but it's not because of the religion part of it. It's just because religion came from somewhere.
Right.
And I resonate with the source of that source.
Right.
And not that itself,
Right.
But science is like probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I ain't got to ask nobody shit no more.
You can figure it out. I always look at science as the act of proving God, which when I say that, I mean, I can break something down to its molecular compound to see how God actually created this one thing. Like, yo, that's amazing. This rock is made of quartz and this, whereas this one's more silica and base. So it allows you to understand all of the encompassing world and not just the one part of it that you're used to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I always think of things very literally. I don't know if I don't think God itself is a man or a woman or whatever. I think it's whatever you want it to be, because it is everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if energy is anything, and I know it is about energy never dies, which means that this soul that I have is a spark of divinity, which in essence makes me a god. Not the God, but a God nonetheless. And I have control over my universe. I can shape it to my will. I can help to create life. Like these are godly things. Now, still not the most powerful aspect. That has to be women, because they're the ones that actually do all the creating inside. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
it's like it's a respect of both, as a single mom, right? And my oldest will be 18 in December.
Right.
And yeah, she'll be 18 in December. I still don't know what the fuck, but we made it.
Hey, we made it.
We made it. I find that other women and men have a very strange perception of me, right? Mm-hmm. So I have 3 kids by 3 different men. And, a lot of when you listen to songs and you hear conversations and things like that about this particular type of woman and the attributes that they attribute to her.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily paint the picture of me, so it confuses people a lot, right? So on one hand, I have these single moms that are just gung-ho on like, fuck niggas, I don't need no man to raise my kid, and blah 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 and all this other stuff, right? And they're like, yeah, sis, you strong, you this, you that, happy Father's Day, sis. Whoa.
Right. Let's take a step back for a second there.
Well, first of all, I would never choose to be a single mom, right? Like I have one son, and it took me to meet my husband, who's now, he's my ex-husband now, but I'm grateful I met him because, no, it's fine. Okay. I'm grateful I met him because he came into my life when my son was 2. Right. And I could not for the life of me, Frank, teach my son how to pee standing up. It was like a thing. Right. Like he's like, wait, but it's easier to sit. Like, so he was sitting and I was like, no, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, what do you do? Right. And that's just one example.
You know what the worst part is? He's not wrong. It is more comfortable to sit.
It is more comfortable, right? But I was like, society is not going to let him roll like that. And when he go to the public, it was just all these things.
Yeah, I get you.
I was like, you know what? He needs to learn how to pee standing up. Okay. But I as a woman, couldn't teach him that. And that's just that's more humorous than the deeper issues about a Black woman raising a Black boy by herself. Mm-hmm. So it's like I have these group of women, and I mean, not like in my friend circle per se, but that they're like wanting me to join their tribe of the fuck niggas crew. And it's like this, like I don't feel that way. I love Black men. I love the ones that I had kids with, regardless of what they feel about me. Like, it ain't even about them.
But you got to think about the operative word they're choosing to use. You see,
the niggas part.
It's the niggas part. You keep fucking with niggas instead of trying to find a man.
Right. You know? And so then I have the men that are like confused. Like, I believe like at least 2 of my quote unquote baby daddies, which I don't like the word, but it is what it is. It's like at least both of them, like they resent me, right? In some ways. And one of them actually said, I resent you. So that's how I know that. But it's like,
why? Because you're smart and you did
why?
Wonderfully.
Because I don't treat people how they treat me.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
I've learned that you have to teach people how to treat you, right? And sometimes people don't know how to do it. So when I see a man doing a not so wonderful thing, or we gonna call it a nigger thing, I don't go over and say, yo, nigga. Like, I don't even speak like that, right? What I say is, hey, king. You know why? Because I understand that words have power. And I understand when I say the word king and you really hear me and it like goes into your ear and into your soul, whatever the thing that you're doing, you can't then see yourself as a king by continuing to do it.
Very true.
Right? So it's a very non-confrontational space for me, because it's just reminding you of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly, it's not that you're not a king and you're a nigga, or you're whatever other word people want to use for you. It's that you might have forgot that you're a king, because if you knew that you were, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing, right? And so that's why a lot of men have this weird like relationship with me, especially the fathers of my children, because I don't, for all the things that they've done to me and all this other stuff,
you don't hold a grudge.
No, I don't see them based on what they've done. I say, damn, first of all, we chose each other for a reason, right? Something about me connected to you. So I can't disrespect that, right? That was a valid connection. Regardless of what it was valid, right? But the other thing is, like, there's a couple of things, but it's like, I now have a forever, like, covenant with you through this child, right? And I want my child to have the best of everything, including their other counterpart. Right. So how can I then not be in alignment with that by trying to break you down, right? So I'm always whenever you're ready to step up, I'm here. I don't shut people out. Like, my door is always open when it comes to that stuff. And what I realize happens is they resent me for it. You know what I mean? And I look at it, and I used to be angry about it, but I have a lot of compassion now, because the way I look at it is, you're not behaving like a natural man, right? So that means that something unnatural must have happened to you to lead to you behaving that way. Right. And so probably for most of your life, people have been feeding into the unnaturalness of you, and you've gotten used to that. And that's all you feel that you know.
Right.
In my mind, when I interact with people, it doesn't matter if it's a stranger, if it's somebody I know, if it's my children, I realize that there are two different sides inside of them. I think about it like two plants.
Yeah.
And I think about, one is a low vibrational plant, one is a high vibrational plant. Every time I have an interaction with you, it's the opportunity for me to water one of those plants.
Right.
And I only want to water the one that I want to grow. So therefore, when I interact with people, it's kind of like, what can I do in this moment to choose kindness? Because it's the only reason that they're behaving the way that they're behaving is because not enough people have watered that high vibrational flower or plant or whatever it is, right? And so I don't want to add to the watering and drowning and proliferating of the other thing. I want to add to the one that I want to grow. And so people, it's like, you're so calm and peaceful. I said, I'm still a fucking bull. Don't get it twisted. I'm still from Brooklyn, still from Brownsville, still from East New York. Don't get it twisted. However,
I hate your soul.
And not give a fuck, right? And hide the body, forensic.
You know what I'm saying? You know how we do. You good.
Yes. At the same time, though, like, all I do is resonate on a frequency of love. And you can't say that that's what you do if every chance you get to break somebody down, you do so. Right. And so it does create a level of resentment, but eventually meaning like maybe a decade later, they'll come back and they'll be like, thank you for your
wrong.
I was wrong.
I was wrong.
And maybe they won't.
Maybe
but
they
I don't have no weight on me, meaning like,
no.
I don't carry any of that stuff. So it's like, if it's being carried, it's by you, because I've already released it.
You learned how to Elsa that shit.
Oh, yes. Let it go, and let it grow.
Let it go. You know what I'm saying? And I is that why you wrote your first book, The Miseducation, the Diary of a Miseducated Baby Mama? Is that what it is?
So, yes, you got it absolutely right. So the first, the part one, it was kind of like just getting all of my trauma out. Like, just like, imagine like having all your trauma regurgitated on pages. That's kind of what that was, right? I wrote the book in somebody asked me, like, why did you call it the miseducated baby mama rather than the uneducated baby mama, right? And I said,
it's two different things.
It's two different things, absolutely. I said, I recognize that the decisions that I made was what I believed to be the right decisions at the time, based on the people that had educated me, AKA the streets, the group home, right? So I was getting educated, right? I wasn't uneducated.
Right.
I was getting miseducated.
Yeah.
Right. And it also allows the woman, AKA the baby mama, not to put so much weight on herself. You know what I mean? Like, we do what we know how to do. We do what we do based on the level of consciousness that we have. So we have to be patient and kind to ourselves when we look back at our older self and say, dang, why you do that? Actually, you wouldn't be who you are today if that person didn't do that. So just be like, you know what? I got you. But I wrote the book, number one, to like get all my trauma out and be transparent, and to give other women space to do the same. Because, you know, when you've loved somebody, especially a Black man, and then it doesn't go a certain direction and you kind of get left, for lack of a better terminology, whatever, with the child, and it's very overwhelming, right? It's very overwhelming. There are things that people don't talk about that we experience.
Right.
So for example, there are a lot of men out there, and I won't point any fingers or elbows or tongues at them because they're working on themselves. However, there are some men out there that once the woman no longer wants to be with them, they no longer want to be fathers to their children. And they demonstrate this in various ways, right? They cannot separate manhood from fatherhood.
Right.
Right. And there are a lot of women, don't get it twisted, that also on the same frequency. But I can only speak, you know, from my own experience.
No, but I understand. It's
like you want your children to have relationships with their dads, and then it almost feels like you have to sell your soul for that to happen. So, you know, if he want to spend the night, you're not really fucking with him no more, but he want to spend the night, he know you just wants to be next to you. You're like, all right, fine. Just so he could wake up the next day and your kid can come in and say, daddy's here. Right? Like, it's like a whole soul trade.
Yeah.
Your dignity trade happening. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're cognizant of it, but at the same time, you feel, you know, that you know, I don't think any woman really wants to not have the other counterpart around in that space. So it's like a lot of emotions that get spurred out, and then the kid is in the middle, and then it's like a lot of like drama and blah, 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 blah. But it all goes back to very simplified, you know, spaces. Right. And so I wanted to speak on certain things that women felt embarrassed to speak about.
Right.
Because we need to speak about them. Otherwise, we telling the kids the stuff that we shouldn't be telling the kids.
Why do you think there's a level of embarrassment to it? You know what I mean?
I think that already, like, I had my first child when I was a teenager still. I was 18 when I had my oldest.
Right.
I think I got pregnant at 17. And the thing with women is that we wear our choices. Like when it comes to pregnancy and like all of that, like the man, you're not together anymore, but the woman is still dealing with that and all the emotions and hormones that go along with that.
Oh yeah.
Right? And so it's like after the child is born and you might not be with the dad anymore, you start feeling like, dang, I made a bad choice. I should have picked a different person for my child, right? And then you hear from in the songs, how do they talk about women, baby mamas and baby mom? Like, it's just prevalent everywhere.
Yeah.
If I ask somebody to like, if I gave somebody a synopsis of a certain part of my life, they wouldn't know that I was even talking about me. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And they would judge that because they have. Right. And we naturally judge shit anyway. Like going to the store, we're like, which orange do we want? We don't want the bruised one. We want the nice one. Right. So we go through judging all day long. And so I realized there was a lot of stigma attached to the word baby mama and what that meant.
Right.
What does baby mama mean? Not good enough to be a wife. Right. What does baby mama mean? Right. She's the side chick now, or she's the, you know, like, it's just all of these things. She's a hoe. And me, I got 3 kids by 3 different dudes who each of them I loved very dearly and still do through the connection that I have with them. Right. But that's not the picture that we see. There's no movie. What movie you know besides watching Erykah Badu's Instagram of a woman, right, that has these different men, right, as their fathers of their, like, we don't get painted in a certain way. And the other thing was when I would meet women and I would say, oh, hey, I'm Tamykah, depending on the venue. And they'll be like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a scientist. 2 things would happen. Either one, automatically, it would be like they felt the need to puff out their chest.
Right.
It felt like some kind of weird intimidation.
Yeah.
Or they shied away from me for the same reason.
Yeah.
And I would be like, what the? It's like they had in their mind an idea of what scientists meant. Like that meant that I was bougie and I was probably went to like great schools and you know, like they had this idea of me. And I'm like, listen,
judging. They prejudged you.
Yeah, I was in a group home. I was on the streets. I was this. I was that. I had 3 babies. Like I felt like I had to like create relatable.
Show your hood resume.
Yes,
you gotta show your hood.
It's
resume.
long. It's long.
So, yo, here's my papers, bitch. Like, yo,
yes, I have to show receipt.
Where we at?
Like, I'm still ratchet.
but that's the thing, you know. You don't look like the typical scientist. You don't look like the typical forensic toxicologist. You don't look like the typical business owner. You don't look like somebody who knows a damn thing about STEM or about, you don't look like that because we're not always portrayed in that way. Exactly. I think, what was the movie where with the NASA women, where they, Hidden Figures?
Hidden Figures. Well,
like, you know, shit. I never learned that in history class, but
you won't.
You never will. And now I was talking to a friend of mine earlier. Now he's a more conservative, libertarian kind of guy, military veteran, but he too is like, yo, the curriculum just needs to be changed and we need to do away with those teachers unions and police unions and things.
Well, that's why I homeschool. I don't deal with that.
Yeah, you do the homeschooling, which I'm probably gonna be talking to you about in a little while because I might have to send my kids to you when I have some.
I'm always ready.
I can see some things, but math and science, I'm not going to even try to do that.
I mean, Frank, you got to learn with them. That's the thing. Like,
that's true.
We're not conditioned to like learn with our kids. We feel like we always have to be on a higher level than them, and
which doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, for me, like, I don't know everything about science. My son came to me the other day talking about something. I was like, oh, I don't know, son. We're going to have to look that up together. Right? Like, that's my response. But sometimes parents, you know, they want to create this air about themselves. And I'm not saying this is you, but it's like society tells us, like, you know, you're supposed to be, what? You know what? The most thing that I say in my house is, I don't know, but we can figure it out together.
Right.
And my kids respect that.
Well, there should be no shame in not knowing. The shame is in not trying to find out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not taking the time. And I don't math very well. I'll tell anybody that I don't math very well. But I do understand logic and I understand the principles behind it. So we can try and figure it out. I love science. I love history. But I also recognize it wasn't always taught to me in the best ways. Like when I went to school, I took forensic science in high school only because they wouldn't let me play with the chemicals while I was in school in chemistry. So what am I in chemistry class for? I get to write out what these things do. I don't know. I've seen it in action. So you know, I remember being a kid and going to clean the bathroom and something told me, hey, mix this bleach with this ammonia.
Oh
I didn't know I shouldn't do that.
Everybody I speak to for the last 3 weeks has an ammonia and bleach story.
I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. I learned after the fact, mind you. Now here's the funny thing. This is why I think I'm a mutant, because I was damn sure, like, you know, swirling around with bare hands and shit. Like no burns, no nothing. I felt nothing. Like, you know, breathing in the
silent killer.
Yeah, apparently, but it did not affect me in any way. And I'm like, all right, maybe I am a science experiment gone wrong. I don't know.
Who knows? It's my cure for everything is always education.
That's right.
Like even when I homeschool my kids, people like I do have a curriculum. Don't as New York law and standards, you got to do this, blah blah blah. Right. I teach what I want to teach. But there's always a method to my madness. Right. So my kids didn't hear the word slavery probably till like this year.
Okay. That's
right.
Fair.
Like as far as my 8-year-old and my 4-year-old, they had no concept of what that meant.
Right.
Right. And the reason why, see, if my son had gone to school, he went to school for like a year, but I was like, oh no, pull him right back out. Because as a Black boy, it was changing him. It was making him subdue himself in ways that I was not cool with.
Right.
I pulled him right back out. But I don't like, I knew it was important for them to know who they were first, right? Like, you know how that song is like started from the bottom, now we're here. I hate that song.
Me too.
Because we never were at the bottom. You feel what I'm saying? But it creates a certain level of complacency among Black people that, well, at least we ain't slaves no more. At least we could do this. And it's like, you don't even, like, if you knew what we really were, then you would realize that we are at the bottom now, right? We shouldn't be comfortable where we are right now, right? And so my kids, I wanted to build them like their identities before I introduced the other. Right. And so with them, my son, when he hears the word king, he's going to turn around because he's going to think somebody's talking to him. Because that's what I call him. Hey, king.
Good man.
People think that how I am like on social media is really, that's the other thing that freaks me out sometimes. People think that how I am on social media is really not how I am for real. Like they think that it's, hold on 1 second. I think that's a delivery. Pardon.
Oh, no, do your thing.
1 second. Who is it?
This is Just to Be Frank podcast where when you're live, sometimes people get package delivered. Happens. You know, we're good. This is fun. How y'all liking the setup so far? Y'all enjoying this? Let me know in the comments how you like it. You know what I mean? That's a picture of my mama right there. It's weird, I know, but
that's your mama?
It's right here. Yeah, it's my mama.
Oh my God, I thought that was Sheila B.
Ah! She thought she was Erica Kane, so you know.
Oh, she's gorgeous. She is absolutely gorgeous.
So my ultimate goal is to take this picture and turn it into this and tattoo it. Yeah, so like, because if you can see, like, it's the two dragons and it's forming her face.
I see it.
So I want to get her face superimposed into it and then formulate it to the same type of thing. But I want her face.
That's not hard.
Yeah. But I'm a writer, not an artist, so I gotta get somebody.
I learn. I'm telling you, Frank. I just be like, I need to learn this. I need to learn that. I don't know
the mind to want to just learn everything. Like you absorb information amazingly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but then you also
say that.
But then you get the flashcards that you created. You got the adventures. Yes, yeah, please, man. Like shit, I'm about to. We go. As a matter of fact, we're gonna try and get folks a 10% discount to Xanthines. Yes. I mean, on that first box. We're gonna create a coupon set that up.
Right now. Create a coupon code for you.
I'm telling you, yeah, man. Please, let's do that. I mean,
I'm down. No, seriously, I'll have that ready for you by the end of the day.
Because when I tell people about it, they be like, "Wait, what? You know somebody that does what?" I'm like, yeah, I got a guy, he's opening up a store, like a natural store up here. I sent him your Instagram, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you have your stuff in stores, but you know what?
In some stores, I do.
Yeah.
I don't really like social media is such a task for me. It's hard for me to I really don't like it, but I feel so pushed to do it because I have a business, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's not just one business. Like I have 4 businesses now, you know, and it's like, damn, like I just want to run the business. I don't want
to well, that's why you have to get a staff, but it's hard for you to trust anybody other than yourself.
There you go. You know, it's deep. It's deep.
Yeah, I know. Listen, my brother Vega is a Taurus. My brother Cap is a Taurus. I know how you guys think. Like it's like, yo, I can do it myself, but to try and abdicate the responsibility to somebody else is difficult for you.
I'm like what you doing? Oh wait,
right. Like you have to let them do it, and it's hard for you to relinquish that control.
Yeah, but it's so weird. Like I teach. Like, I feel like I'm a decent teacher, like, but when it comes to like certain things that are like my babies, you know, like my businesses are my babies. And it's like, it'd be hard, you know, because it's like, it's something that you hold so dear and you know that the next person is not going to have the same type of emotion around it because it's not their baby.
Well, no, it's not, but you also have to remember that it is still a business. So you might have to separate the emotion from it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah,
working on it.
And that's
2022.
It's hard.
2022.
Trust me, it's difficult because I do this and all I do is sit here and talk to people, but I enjoy doing it. So I care when it happens. Like I care as I'm doing it. I want to hear these stories, and I want people to hear these stories. So I started it so people could hear these different takes on things and all these different ideas and ideologies. And that's why I don't care how long it goes, because I want people to flesh out their ideas. Even if you have an idea that some people may not agree with, okay, well, let's flesh it out and see where it goes. Like,
I did save something for you.
Okay.
That I haven't shared with anybody.
Oh, shucks.
Well, I did share with one person. It was my ex-boyfriend. I just got broken up with, so I'm going through my own emotions right now. It was supposed to be a joint project that I had broached him with, and that I wanted to do together. But now that we have separated, then it's kind of like, again, it's my baby, right? So I got to go with it. So I've been having these like inclinations, right? And these like thoughts about bridging Black men and Black women, right? And I don't like what I see a lot, whether it's on social media or when I hear people talk, or like there's this thing, it's like we don't love on each other enough, right? Not enough that everybody else gonna love on us, right? But we don't feel comfortable loving on each other, right? If somebody walks in a room and they say niggas ain't shit, oh, I'm in there, because this dude did. But if it's a room where it's like Black love, it's like, oh, fuck that corny stuff,
Yeah, they're gonna look at you like a bunch of hippies, which is
right. Black women, like, and I love Black men, right? You couldn't pay me to be with somebody other than that, right? And I don't care, like 3 baby daddies, ex-husband, Yes, I understand the trauma of Black men. It doesn't make me hate them, right? And just like there's a lot of Black men that have been traumatized by Black women. So that leads into their adult lives when they're dealing with relationships, right? And so I wanted to create something, right, that would help bridge that, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking 2 things. The first thing is, once you know better, you do better, right? I know that's like a cliche thing to say, but I firmly believe once you educate somebody about something, the knowledge now has to do something, right? They have to do something with it. They now can't claim ignorance because now they know, right? So when I meet men and they're disrespecting women, I don't say F you and all this other stuff. I'm like, brother, it's a little strange to me that, like, as a man, you're disrespecting a woman, because did you know when your daddy nutted in your mama, and for 6 weeks after that, you was a chick. You were absolutely a female. Right?
So that Y chromosome kicked in.
You go. That penis, you grabbing the balls, you grabbing, that is the labia fused together. I said the tip of your penis, that's clitoris. The clit, right? In fact, unfortunately for you, you lost some of the nerve endings as you grew, because the clitoris has like 3,000 more nerve endings than the tip of a penis, right?
And most of you got circumcised, which took away a bunch more.
You already not even you're never gonna know what it really could feel like, right? So I educate in that way, right? When I speak to women and they're like, oh, F dudes and and I'm like, I said, everything has to be balanced. I said, within all of us, we have masculine and feminine energy, right? That's the Shakti and the Shiva, all of that. I said, this is a new world of Yanni. Everybody now knows what Yanni is. And I'm grateful to be a part of the movement that has proliferated, to teach women about their bodies.
Right.
Because I want them to be empowered. But what I notice sometimes is that empowerment kind of creates sometimes a level of hubris, right? That I don't quite like, because you don't have to be anti-man to be pro-woman, right? In fact, you can't, because we both are part of the same, the same system, right? And it's a respect to each of those, the masculine and the feminine divine. They're both important. The feminine being creation and the masculine being generative. Like, both of those are necessary in order to create life. And when I got into this past relationship, I realized that there are not enough spaces for Black men and Black women to connect, especially when you come into a relationship, especially in your 30s. You coming through, if he's 35, you're 35, that's 70 years of trauma that y'all are bringing to the table. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's 70 years of trauma and preconceived notions and conditionings and thought processes and, habits. Exactly. Yeah. And so if there was a way that we can circumvent some of these things right in the beginning at the same time that we're building, that would really help out, I feel, a lot of relationships. And so I created this thing called, the name may change, and you'll see why when I tell you. But it's like it's a couple's Bible, right? Right. And it is a 2-part journal, and I'm respective of those who are in, spaces that are not particularly heterosexual. So I do recognize masculine energy, feminine energy, rather than man, woman, right? Right. And so one book is the yin and the other book is the yang. Whichever one you identify with, that's the one you go for, right?
Find your balance.
There you go. And so within these journals, it's like 52 weeks. It's an entire year of stuff, right? And in it, it's like a journal entry. So say you and I are in a relationship, we have to pick 20 minutes to an hour every week that we're setting time aside for the journal. Okay. And so every journal entry is pretty much the same for the yin and the yang, right? After you respond to it, you kind of like switch it and you read it to each other so that you kind of understand each other's feedback. And the questions are they're not like surface questions. I don't like surface stuff. They're like, what is your relationship with your mom like? Right. They're like, if you can go on vacation for 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months, where would you go for 2 days? Where would you go for 2 weeks? Where would you go for 2 months? Right. And so there are questions to kind of help you learn about the other person.
Know one another. Right. Like, see how you match up. Like, okay.
Hold on, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me? See me?
Oh, I got you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Say that again.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is like, it's a way for you to kind of build together, to learn each other's, the quirks, the oddities, the things that you have in common, the things that might be problematic,
Right, conversation.
Red flags.
Exactly. Yeah. And every week, it's not just a journal. Attached to the journal entry is also an activity that you have to complete together based on whatever that question was, right? So that's one part of it. Every month you have an audit, right? So there's like 5 or 6 categories that you're going to be auditing, not the other person, but your relationship. Right. So the first one might be communication. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think we are with our communication? 1 to 10, where are we with our intimacy? Right. 1 to 10, where are we with our finances and financial planning? Right. 1 to 10, how are we with our parenting if we're in a space with children? Right. And so you're not grading the other person, you're grading the relationship.
Right.
And part of that audit is you have to express what you can do better to increase the score, not the other person. You got to be accountable for self. What can you do to increase that score? Right. Yeah. In addition to that, at the end of this 52 weeks, if you make it, right. So every week there's a journal entry and an activity, and every month there's an audit. In addition to that, there's these things that I created called the coupon books. And when I used to do couples events, I had those as well. So the coupon books, I saw coupon books that were like all sexual in nature and all this. Of course, yeah. And that's fine and dandy, but again, that's surface shit. Right.
Intimacy is deep.
Exactly. So the coupon book, how that's going to work is you and I in a relationship, you get your coupon book and I get a coupon book, right? And it has 12 different slots in it that you can write in. And you're going to write in the 12 things that you would want from your partner if you were having like a rough day, or just, just to have things that you may not be comfortable just outright asking for. It could be a foot massage. It could be going on a vacation, and you have to do it where there's some of them that don't require money and others that require X amount of money, others that require X amount of money, because we have to be mindful that people's situations change, right? And so once you fill out those 12 things and I fill out those 12 things, we switch. So you have the coupon book and you have mine and I have yours. And so every month that's part of the audit. You have to redeem, right?
One
You
of
have
those
to look in
coupons.
this book and you have to have redeemed one of those coupons, because now you don't have to guess what the other person wants. You have 12 things that you can plan for and do. So that's going to be part of the audit, right? I also created these appreciation cards. I think you might have seen them on social media. There are Yani appreciation cards and Lingam appreciation cards, because the Lingam is the male counterpart to Yani, right? In Sanskrit.
Okay.
And so there are these cards that tell you all of these facts and different trivia about the Yani and about the Lingam.
So,
right?
so just for those who don't know what the hell a Yani is, because
So Yani, people think that Yani means vagina, because people don't even know what vagina means. So the vagina is not what you see on the outside. You can't see somebody's vagina. I would hope not by looking at them. The vagina is literally what connects the outside part of the genitalia to your cervix. So it's the part that's unseen, the tube, the tunnel, the glory hole, whatever people want to call it.
The fallopian tubes and all that.
Right. So the Yani is everything. It's the center. It's the whole reproductive womb wellness. So the Yani is the vagina, it's the clitoris, it's the labia, it's the fallopian tubes, it's the essence of the body feminine.
It's the cervix, it's everything.
Yes. Right. That's the Shakti. That's Shakti. And that means a source of creation. Right. Lingam is the counterpart to that. Lingam means phallus. Phallus is another word for penis. It also means symbol, and it also means generative power, which you get from the counterpart, which is Shiva. And so that's the male area. That's the prostate, the penis, the testicles. It's all of the parts that work together to help create life.
All the dangly bits.
Exactly. In the Lingam cards, it has something like, one of the trivia questions is, do pineapples really help your semen taste better? Right? I won't give the answer. You don't have to buy the cards for that. But on one of the Yani,
for what I've been told, yes.
It's a very complicated question.
I'm sure it is, but I would think it would have to go into like the scientific breakdown of how sugar breaks down in your body and then is absorbed into those areas.
Your semen is separate from your sperm. Sperm is the cell, that's the wiggly cell that goes in fertilizes the egg. Semen is the liquid. Right. And in that liquid, there's a whole crap load of stuff. Right. One of the things that's in there is fructose, which is a form of sugar. ATP. Why do you need fructose? Right, because the sperms, they need to feast on the fructose to get their energy. Right. That's why men that have had vasectomies, their semen supposedly tends to taste sweeter, because there's no sperm there to feed off of the fructose. So fructose in their semen, supposedly.
Right.
Supposedly. So because semen, like if you ejaculate today, that semen wasn't created today. So if it was created days to up to like 2 weeks ago. Right. So technically, if you want your semen to taste good today, you would have had to drink certain, juices over time.
Over the last week and everything.
Right. It's not like
it's not instantaneous.
No, it's not
like a vitamin you could just pop like, ooh, it tastes great.
I've seen posts, people like, oh, I'm about to eat this pineapple because I'm like, oh man, should I say something now? Let me not say nothing.
No, people be dumb sometimes. Sometimes you gotta let them.
I just let people be whatever. I'll just, now I'm like, oh, put the link there for the Lingam cards.
There you go. Like, maybe learn something.
Right. And so with the couples Bible thing, at the end of that 52 weeks, it's going to be you guys are going to create your own 10 commandments that'll hang in your home.
Okay.
The 10 commandments, not the biggie 10 commandments, because those are important too.
Those are important too, but maybe not helpful in this situation.
Right. These are what you're going to come up with that are going to define your relationship. Because I feel like it takes about a year for people to figure out like what works for them instead of trying to figure how they can fit into a mold of something else. And so you're going to write the 10 commandments of your union, right? And have it up. And that's what you go by. And so my goal is to use that, because it's not just for people that are just getting together. It's for people that's to take a 1-year audit of your relationship.
Where you're
right?
at, yeah.
Where you at. Because I don't like the fact that the marriage license is like the only license you don't renew. I feel like if you got to renew your driver's license every couple of years, like
you have to renew your marriage license too.
Yeah, like every 3 years, we should be able to go in and be like, yo, all right, so I don't think this is working.
Right. Like, hey,
right?
man, we gave it a shot, you know, but
yeah,
if we cash out the contract right now,
let's not renew. Let's not renew.
Right, let's not renew. Nobody loses anything. I leave what I came with and accumulated. You leave what you got. We good. The kids, you know what I'm saying? Now, the only problem would be if you have kids. How do you work that out? Like, all right, well, we can work out visitation here.
Right. I mean, whatever you got to do, you got to do. I just feel like that's like a very long till death do us part. Death do us part. That's why people killing each other. Like, now we dead, so now we parted. No. But
yeah, I'm gonna kill you for 5 seconds and bring you back. That should clear it, right? Like,
well, that's what I wrote about that in the second book, the part 2 of Diary of a Miseducated Baby Mama, the afterbirth. And one of it was kind of like, it's not till death do you part, meaning till one of y'all dies, till your relationship dies. Right? Like, when you get together with somebody, you create a union. When that union dies, it's a wrap.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
you may have to explain that to some of them the Bible thumpers who don't understand that, because to them they think it just means the physical death.
Well, I will tell them same Bible thumpers that if they have a problem with that, then they should have a problem with the vaccines they put in, because God created them perfect in his image. If we're gonna go mismatch for words, like, that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Judges, did you see that coming? I didn't see that one coming. Did you see that one coming? I didn't see that.
I'm saying, if you're gonna thump
Listen, I tell anybody, I am a proud pagan, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? And because, you know, if you're going to judge me based on that, then you're a fucking moron anyway. So I might as well just play into it and just be what I am.
I'm cool being a heathen.
Right. Works for me.
I'm going to hell, whatever. Like, I'm cool with that.
Apparently that's where I'm going, but you know, they put that water on my head, so I guess I'm not at some point. You know,
I'm a 3D print a suit. Like, I could wear in hell and not burn.
With the polymers they have, it might work actually. You know what I'm saying?
Let me stop before somebody in my building come get me.
Oh Lord. Hey, listen, man, just watch out for them Jehovah's. Them's the ones now.
Oh, man,
watch out for them.
I can't even speak on that right now on this public forum, but that was also some things I learned about in my previous relationship.
Oh, that they're a massive cult and they're kind of foolish with their wacky shit that they think.
It's wild. Like, I thought it was wild already.
You should
watch. But
you got to watch season 2, episode 4. You gotta watch season 2, episode 4. I did this one. Yo,
I thought it was deep, but like, I found out from the person I was dealing with, like, how deep it really is, because like, he was, you know, that's how he grew up and stuff, you know. But I also see like how that conditioning like plays out like for your whole life almost, you know. That's deep. I think what they say, only 144,000 people get to
something like that. Yeah. And but there's
more than 144,000 of them. So
well, not only that, but then you also have to remember that the only ones who are actually getting in there are like the elders. The rest of you motherfuckers kind of just have to figure it out.
You gotta get old. You gotta get old and die.
You gotta get old or whatever. I don't know. Listen, it's generally classified as a cult, and they are largely considered, because they're the type of people that they'll go to school and then they'll go home, and their parents will, like, that's why a lot of them do homeschooling as well, because they'll tell them, oh, that's not real, because that's not Jehovah.
That's worldly.
Yeah, that's not Jehovah. That doesn't make sense.
It's such a very restrictive way to live in an already restricted like physical plane.
Yep. And then then comes the patriarchal shit, and then comes this, it's crazy. Again, watch season 2, episode 4. It's hilarious.
I got you. I got
you.
you. But yeah, that's my next big project. Is
okay. Well, that's actually a good thing to do, I think. And I think that that's something that's going to be helpful. Now, is it going to be an app, or are you going to have a physical?
So I wanted to have both. I recognize where we are in the world. I prefer the writing part. There's something that happens in the brain
when you write.
You are writing. And I feel like that doesn't happen enough. There's like grown-ups that have no fine motor skills right now. But I do want it to be written, and like, but the cards, I want the cards to kind of be more, they're going to be physical, but I want them to be interactive.
Okay.
But I want that book, the journals to be journals, right? I want their children to be able to read that and have a story, a picture of their love. You know what I mean? I want it to be tangible.
Right.
Yeah, that's the idea.
And the cool thing about that is too, because you'll see because when you say that, your kids will be able to see, like, damn, mom and dad weren't perfect. You know what I'm saying? They struggled with this, or this was a problem for them, and this is how they got past it and through. And it's a good teaching tool because it shows you how to move past certain things and navigate these waters, especially in those times when, like for my example, I don't have any parents or grandparents left, so a lot of stuff that I'm thinking to ask now, it's too late. I can't ask anybody. You know what I'm saying? So that something like that would be exponentially helpful to me, because then I'd be able to see, oh, okay, well, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a photo album, but it's still just, you know what I mean? But instead of it being pictures of people you don't really know, it's your words of your parents, or in their own words, and you can always hear
and
that.
It's like their love story too. Like one of the first questions, or one of the first journal entries was, what were you the most attracted to in your partner on first impression?
Right.
So then after speaking to them, like, when did you know that you loved this person? You know what I mean? Like their questions like that too, because I feel like those things don't get talked about in relationships as much. We're so keen on talking about the problems and the issues, but we don't really speak on the connection.
Right. We don't find solutions.
Yeah, right. We get focused on the past and like our trauma, and it's heavy. And like I said, when you come to the table with somebody else that's 30 something, like that is a lot of years of trauma to vent.
Right. And to try and meld into something.
Without letting your brokenness cut the next person the closer you get to them.
I told the young lady that I'm currently seeing, I told her, like, for me, honesty and open communication. Like, if I'm slacking somewhere, please tell me. Don't let it fester until you can't take it anymore. No, tell me right away so I can correct course. Because I'm not a mind reader. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be able to just read your mind and be like, oh, I know what you want me to do. No, I know, you got to tell me.
But it's also the way that people communicate with each other too. So I focus a lot on communication. So like at the end of the night, before I go to bed, I do like this weird audit, right? And I'm like thinking about all the interactions I had for the day. And I think about the goal of the interaction. Was I in alignment with that? Did I do something that may have been hurtful or appeared offensive or whatever? And that's my time I start texting people. Like if I feel like it could have been, because I know that's the time that people, before they go to bed, they're also reflecting on their day. True. And whatever I did could have done something unintentionally to them that could have caused them to like have this ripple effect throughout their day. So I want to clear my slate in some ways too, before I go to bed. And so I lay there and I'm like, spoke to my homegirl. She was telling me about something with her man. Did I interrupt? I feel like I interrupted her. I feel like I cut her off when she was talking to interject. I feel like I did that. And then I feel like after I did that, she changed the subject. I wonder if that was because of ... So then I won't own anything that I know I didn't do. I might just say, hey, sis, when we were speaking earlier, it dawned on me that I may have interrupted you and that may have caused you to change the course of the conversation. If that's the case, then my deepest apologies. And I would hope that you could give me another chance to course correct. Right.
Well, you're a real sweet person.
I'm telling you, I have to be this way because it's light. Like when you start believing trauma and you realize how light it is, every time you feel like a weight, you be sensitive now, like, gotta get it off. It's like, it becomes too like, like overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And so what I realized in communication with people is that people are very quick to be on attack mode when they're telling somebody that they have done something that affected them.
Right.
So just like you said, you told your girlfriend, if I did anything to you, let me know. If she comes to you and says, Frank, you hurt me, right? You're gonna be like, what? I would never, right? It automatically puts you on the defense.
It does.
Right? Like, that your intention would never be to hurt her. So no matter what comes out of her mouth that you did, you're already on the defense because you know that wasn't your intention, right? But if she comes and she says, Frank, when you left the toilet seat up the other day, I was mad. That action that you did, that hurt me.
Right.
That's different because now she's not saying that you, Frank, hurt her.
Right.
She's saying that something that you did had an effect on her. It's a difference between saying that somebody did a fucked up thing and saying that they're a fucked up person.
Very true.
So when she says, oh, Frank, you hurt me, you're now having to defend your character rather than addressing what she's saying.
Right. Right.
You get what I'm saying? And so then she's going to feel like her voice ain't being heard, right? Because now you're two based on the defense. They're both on the defense. And that creates a conflict when it's like the communication piece of it is really what needs to be like fixed. Everybody's feelings are valid, right? But it's about how you can effectively communicate what you're feeling without making it somebody else's fault.
Right.
So now you don't have to defend what your intentions were because it doesn't matter what your intentions were. She's sharing and saying, Frank, when you did this thing, it affected me in this way.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't put you on the defense. It puts you on the, oh, wow, I'm so sorry.
I didn't think about that. My bad. Right. I apologize.
So moving forward,
I'm
going to make in fact, I'm going to get a sticker. I'm going to put it on the back of the toilet seat so that I can remember, right? But if she said, Frank, you hurt me, you're going to start thinking about all the things that you did that was in opposition to that, and you're not going to hear her no more.
Right, because now I'm thinking like, damn, what the fuck did I do?
Right.
What?
Right.
What hurt you? Did I what?
Right.
It's just you stuck like, did I? And you're gonna be stuck in that mode as opposed to.
And she's still talking, but you're not hearing her no more.
No, because you're
on defense mode.
Like, oh shit, what did I do? Damn, damn. That's a good product, man.
Right.
And and you're also the only other human being that I personally know that's been to Usha Village. You met the great Dr. Sebi. You knew I was gonna go there. Come on now. I tried to Google anyway, and Lord knows I can't pronounce polypodial. I tried. I tried. It didn't work. Oh no, it did, but I definitely couldn't say that out loud at all again. Don't ask me to spell it. But you basically were losing sight in your eye.
I lost my vision, started losing my vision on my 30th birthday, on my wedding day. I went into the bathroom in my apartment that I'm in now. The makeup artist is out there waiting to do my makeup. My mom is out there, like the bridesmaids, my kids, all of that. And I go in the bathroom to put my contacts in so that she could do my makeup. And when I closed, because contacts were like a new thing for me. Like I just wore glasses. The thought of sticking things in my eye freaked me out. But as you get older and you go into different spaces, you don't want to always wear your glasses. So I was like, what? Right.
Yeah. But I only wear the one. I don't wear both. I can't wear one in the right.
Gotcha. And so I went in the bathroom, and when I closed my right eye to like put the contact in my left eye, I realized that my whole peripheral, I couldn't see my finger coming towards my eye. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
I said, maybe it's like, how you get some cold in your eye, you start blinking and then like film kind of goes away. but it wasn't like going away. And I was like, all right, maybe it's just my nerves or something. And the contact actually ended up falling into the drain.
Oh.
I never put it in. So I was like, fuck it. But I was like freaking out. And my freak out is different than most because people never know when I'm freaking out. Right. I don't know if it's a Korean or a bull thing. I what do they call it? Implode before I explode any day of the week. So I'm freaking out, but I go back out. Hey guys, get my makeup done. My son, who's 2 at the time, is walking me down the aisle. I get married in the park. I'm walking down this park stairs, down the aisle, can't see shit. Because now, on top of not having my contacts in, I'm like not seeing properly.
Right.
So I didn't really know, like after we got married and stuff, like I didn't even really know how many people were there.
Right.
Like until I saw pictures. I was like, yo, it was mad people at the wedding.
Wow.
And I didn't tell anybody what was happening. So at the time I was working at Columbia University, like running a lab there and like doing like tech work and whatnot. And like 2 days after the wedding, I say to my then husband, I'm like, yo, my eyes are acting funny. Like I really am not seeing properly. So I went to urgent care. Urgent care, I don't know why they have urgent care for some things. Like they don't really do shit. No offense, but whatever. I go there and they're like, oh, well, we can't help you because we don't see nothing really wrong, but we don't look in the back of your eye. And that's probably what the problem is. You should probably go see the doctor. I'm like, okay,
ophthalmologist,
pay my copay because you still want that.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
so I go to the ophthalmologist. I go to the ophthalmologist at Columbia because that's where I worked at. And it just made sense. And it's also like supposedly the top institution anyway. So I go to the clinic there. That's what they say. And the doctor says to me after they do some testing, like testing on top of testing, he was like, I think you have this thing, but you're like not supposed to have it. So we need to send you to a specialist. I'm like, what's the thing? It was a lady. She said, you have, we think you might have polypoidal choroidal vasculopathy. And so my science brain, see, when it's about me, my science brain shuts down. So now I'm sitting here trying to like understand the words coming out of her mouth, right?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I can't even like conceptualize what she's saying because she's talking about me. So my natural science mind shuts down totally.
Right.
And she says, we got to send you to a specialist. They sent me to a specialist. More tests. They put some green dye in my eye to like find stuff. And the doctor tells me, you do have polypoidal choroidal vasculopathy. But it's strange because it normally only happens to like Asian people over 70. Like this is a form of wet macular degeneration. Degeneration by nature of the word means degenerating as you get older. So this is like a glaucoma or, you know what I'm saying? Like that's supposed to happen to like older people.
What was the specialist? Were they an iridologist?
No, it was just a retina specialist. So what the condition is, it's where abnormal blood vessels will sprout in your eyes and then they'll burst.
Oh.
So then eyes are constantly bleeding on the inside. And so the blood creates a lot of pressure inside your eye, which leads to pressure into your brain.
Right.
It's your eye. There's nowhere for it to go but towards your brain.
Towards your brain, yeah. Or out your eyes.
Exactly. And so here's the crazy part, right? This is where universe comes into play. This is where my life path number of 8, which is, the most karmic life path number, comes into play.
Okay.
I'm at Columbia and I'm making good money. I'm a single mom. I don't like what I'm doing though. Like I'm working with animal models, rats and rabbits and mice, and I'm using them to do these clinical trials to like.
You were coronavirus, wasn't you?
I probably did, son. Oh, snap. I was working in the cardiology department. So, working on stuff like emphysema and diabetes and stuff like that. So there was this particular study, right? And the study was, like when somebody's diabetic, they end up with neuropathy and then they have getting limbs cut off.
Right.
And so they wanted to use this drug to see if they could recreate blood vessels so that people wouldn't have to get their limbs cut off, right? Okay. So my job in the lab was I got all of these, I think it was like 80 mice, right? And I had to put them into like 2 different groups. And one half of the group, I had to give them diabetes. How do you give a mouse diabetes? The same way you give a human diabetes. You mess with the islet cells in the pancreas. So there's this stuff called STZ. The name is super long. It's streptozosis, some stuff, but it's STZ.
Okay.
And you have to inject the STZ into the pancreas so that it will kill the islet cells that regulate the insulin. And then in turn, the mice will become diabetic. So I was already freaking out working with it because, you know, I'm working with Wrigley mice. I'm injecting like 50 mice a day. And, you know, you have to hold them in a certain way. Otherwise you inject your damn self. So that was already some anxiety there. Plus it was a radioactive lab, right? So
okay. Right in the heart of New York City.
I know. Right. I was already like in a space, like I didn't really want to be doing it, but I got really close to those mice. You know, mice are very intelligent creatures, yes. Right? And I got really, they trusted me after a while, right? Like they wouldn't even do much. And then I watched that group go from healthy mice to diabetic mice, just like a person would become diabetic. They got heavier, slower. They got lesions all over them. You know, like their pee would, like, it was just not a good feeling to like watch.
Yeah, that sounds cruel.
So it felt cruel because of how I feel about the universe and nature and living things and whatnot. Yeah. It just never sat right with me. But I was a single mom. And I just like, I need the money. I need to, you know, I need. But I was always saying like, universe, please like help me not do this. Mm-hmm. I want to use science to help my people. This is not helping my people because here I am doing research on diabetes, but they're still putting quarter waters and tropical fantasies in the neighborhood. So like, it don't even matter because we already set up to fail regardless, right? So fast forward, I had to kill a whole bunch of the mice. Because in order to do the research, we need to kill them, put the radioactive isotope. I had to image them. Like it was a lot, but I ended up, and in the science world, they call it sacrifice. Right. When you kill an animal, which already
sounds horrible.
Right. Like when you think about what it means, like there was one Easter when I think I sacrificed like 10 white rabbits. Like it was on Easter. And so I was always asking the universe, I said, please get me out of this. Like, I need to feed my kids, but at the same time, I need to feed my soul, right? Like I need something that's going to be, you know, like uplifting and what I want to do. And I wrote, I was second author on 2 papers that published this research because it worked. Because what it was for the diabetic mice, there was a surgeon there. I mean, this ill Asian dude, like, I used to watch him work in just like the utmost of awe, watching him do surgery on these mice. So what he did was he cut off the femoral artery in the diabetic mice so that they wouldn't have any blood flow going to the lower limbs. Right. So that they could use the medicine to see if it would work to recreate the blood vessels for these particular mice. Guess what, Frank? It worked. Published paper. I was the second author on like one paper and I think third author on another paper. And in the science world, that just means that the person that's first is the one that has,
he gets the credit,
the most credit, so it's an order of credit descending from first name down. And so that was a big deal for me because like I was Black, I'm at Columbia, you know, like there's a whole bunch of white people that don't want me there. The guy
Isn't that where Dr. Carhart works out of, Columbia?
I believe so. That's also where Dr. Oz was working out of as well.
Is Dr. Oz really a fucking doctor?
Listen, I was on his show.
I know.
I'm going to rep him. He really was a doctor.
But is he really a doctor? That's all I'm asking. I'm not, that's all I want to know.
He's really a doctor.
All right. What kind of doctor?
I didn't give him his credentials. Who the hell am I to say he's really a doctor? As far as I know, I know, he's really a doctor.
Listen, so man.
The crazy part was the shit really worked, right? The research went through, published the paper, all of that. So now fast forward, I'm sitting in the doctor's office. He tells me what I have. He's like, Miss Anthony, this thing is so aggressive on you. We don't know why it's so aggressive on you. We have to help treat it like today. Like today has to be the first like treatment. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's the treatment? And he was like, we have to give you a needle in the eye. And I was like, wait, you know that thing when you little stick a needle in the eye, all that, like, that's not really supposed to happen though. Like, what do you mean stick a needle in my eye? He's like, we're going to stick a needle in your eye. I said, the scientist in me needs to know step by step what the fuck is about to happen. Right. So he said, we're going to lean you back all the way. We're going to use these clamps to prop your eye open.
Oh, fuck
so you can't blink, right? You can't blink. Then we're going to pour betadine into your eye to clean it out. Mind you, you blink so you can get stuff out your eye. So imagine it burning in your eye, but you can't blink.
Oh, fuck that. No.
Right? And then we're going to use a Q-tip and put some numbing on your eye.
Novocaine.
Right? And then we're going to inject you. When we inject, we need you to go look away. Now imagine the needle's coming this way. They want you to look that way. Come on, I'm looking at the
right. I can't all I see is the needle. Like, yo, nah.
I'm freaking out. I'm sitting here freaking out as he's explaining it to me, and he's like,
and then my eyes is numb. Says, how do I know if I'm looking that way?
Oh, hold on, but it gets worse. So he says, so we're gonna stick the needle in your eye, and then you're probably gonna not be able to see for a few minutes. I said, I thought the needle was supposed to help me see. He's like, yeah, but the medicine sometimes. I said, so there's a chance that I could take the medicine and never get and be more blind than I am right now. He's like, yes, that's a possibility. Please sign right here. I was like, oh, fuck, this is really serious. But wait, it gets worse.
Oh my.
I'm like, so what medicine are you putting in my eye? He says Avastin. It's like a cancer medicine that they started using for this particular thing because of the cells. I was like, what? Frank, would you know that that's the same medicine I was giving to the mice?
Right.
Remember, that's what I was doing to the mice. I was creating blood vessels in them. And that's exactly what happened to me. So they gave me the anti to what I was giving the mice.
Oh.
I was like, you cannot be sick. I said, I got it in my fridge in my lab right now. Right. It was like the most karmic, mind-blowing shit I have ever experienced. The universe don't play games. No. Right. I'll just put it out there. So what they didn't tell me was that the only part that's really numb is the outside of your eye. Remember, the needle is going into the white part of your eye. So I get through the whole propping my eye open. I get through the betadine, barely. I get through them almost poking my own eye out, trying to put the Nova, whatever the numbing stuff was. Now I'm feeling my eye numbing and I'm like, okay, but I still can't. But not being able to blink is a real deep, that shit doesn't feel good.
Yeah, no, I know.
So now they about to inject. Now the needle is coming from this way. And they're like, don't look this way, Miss Anthony, look that way. And I'm like, okay, I'm breathing. So I'm hyperventilating at this point, but you can't move. You one wrong move, it's your eye. It's a wreck. So he sticks the needle. At first, I don't feel it. And then all of a sudden, the most piercing pain ever. And mind you, I've had 3 kids, natural, boom, boom, all of that. When I tell you that pain is like no other, it is like no other. And then he tells me the whopper. So in 2 weeks, you got to come back and do the other eye. 2 weeks after that, you got to do the eye. 2 weeks after you got to the other eye. So every 2 to 3 weeks, I had to go back, right, to get this done. This went on for months. And for months, my vision progressively got worse.
Right.
I remember no. And guess why? Because I had become immune to the medicine. Right? Possibly because of being in a radioactive lab with the medicine. It's all of these possibilities, right? And so eventually they're like, you're going to need surgery. Because now your eye is filled with blood. You need to suck out some of this blood out of your eye. I'm like, fuck it. I can't see no way anyway. What's the worst that could happen? They tell me, oh, we won't be putting you to sleep either. You have to be awake for the surgery. I was like, what? I said, wait, what do you mean awake? They said it's called twilight anesthesia, you're going to be awake. So I said, what does that mean? He said, you won't feel anything. I said, I've seen a horror movie like this where he was stuck in his own head.
Yeah.
I think it was a Twilight Zone or so. Or actually, I think it was one of them Black Mirror episodes maybe. But basically, you're awake, but you can hear everything. You can smell.
Yeah, no, I'm not with it. Nope.
So they cut off my optic nerve, right? Because in order for them to do the surgery, they had to cut off the connection to the brain. And I hear the machine, like the vacuum machine going, and then they stick the needle into my eye to suck the blood out, right? But I could, and this is gonna sound crazy, I couldn't see outside of myself because they cut my nerve, my optic nerve. So I couldn't see anything, but I could see when the needle went into my eye. Isn't that crazy?
Oh.
Like I saw like, I can't even explain it. Like I saw the needle coming into my eye and I saw like the blood being sucked into the needle. But I was like seeing inside myself. The shit was crazy. And that surgery was over. It didn't work. My husband at the time, he's the one that actually, I had heard about Dr. Sebi a few times, but I was in such a low space that I was just like, whatever.
The reason Dr. Sebi was a legend. It was like literally like you spoke about like legend, like you heard about this guy that could do this, and you'd be like,
yeah, I was one of those people that really had not heard about him very much. Right. Like I knew like the name, but I did not study him. I did not, you know what I'm saying? I didn't. I was living my life very similarly to what he preached, but I didn't know him.
Right.
And so when he told me about it, I started doing more research, and I said, you know what, universe, if this is what it is, like this is what it's going to be. This is my only chance. I felt that. I knew that deep in my soul somewhere. I knew that he was going to be the one to help me. That's what I called, and it was like, how much does it cost to go down there? It was like $6,000, not including the flight and the and all this other stuff. And so my husband at the time created the GoFundMe. Mm-hmm. I think it was called Vision for Vision. Right. And he did a beautiful job of, writing the copy, for it, and promoting it and whatnot. And people helped a lot. People I didn't even know donated. Right. And within a couple of weeks, I had enough money, almost enough money to go. And then a good friend of my ex-husband's was a comedian, or is a comedian rather. His name is Ted Alexandro. You would like his comedy, actually. You would resonate with his comedy.
I like comedy.
Yeah, and he worked at the New York Comedy Club, and he went to them and told them about my story, and they agreed to do this comedy benefit for me. They had all of their best comedians come and perform, and they sold tickets, and they gave me all of the proceeds from the ticket. And this is how white people are, right? They could just walk in and do whatever. At the comedy benefit, I think it was Ted that was like, all right, and we're going to pass this basket around, right? And we need you to drop something in the basket too. And they put it in an envelope and gave it to me. And that's how I went to Usha Village. So initially when I reached out.
What was the comedian's name?
Ted Alexandro.
Ted Alexandro. Well, shout out to this cat. Give him a round of applause.
No, every year when I get the reminder on Facebook, I send him a message like, I am just so grateful. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just grateful, period. I don't even got to get deep. Like I'm just extremely in a very, very grateful space when it comes to that situation. It gets deeper because they originally weren't going to let me come to Usha Village. They don't really take pregnant people like that down there because a lot of things, like you're detoxing.
Right.
So you're not supposed to detox while you're pregnant.
Right.
Because once you detox, things come out into your bloodstream that needs to be expelled, but they might go through the baby before it gets expelled. Right. And so I had to wait to get permission to go down to Usha. They originally told me no. Oh. And I told them straight up, I was like, listen, I'd rather have this baby die. Like, I'm going to die. Right. There was blood leaking into my brain. I had brain bleed. Like, it was like not just my eyes. It was a lot of stuff.
Right.
And I said,
I can imagine the pressure. Constant pressure. Like
crazy. And I still get it, like in my orbital area. Like if I get too stressed or like there are things that let me know I need to chill.
Right.
But they let me come, thankfully. It was crazy traveling by myself to Honduras, half blind, because at that point, not even more than half blind. At that point, I had no vision in my left and about 30% in my right. My vision was 20/50.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I'm sure.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So they were, I was very, very grateful. I got there. And I first met Dr. Sebi's daughter. She's the one that gives you the regimen and all of that. And I had asked, I was like, Salma, can I drink the alkaline water? Because the alkaline water there comes right out of the mountain. There's a whole reservoir. You get a kettle and collect it and all of that. She was like, oh, no. You're pregnant. You're not supposed to do that. I was like, damn, like, what's the point? Like,
Right.
like she had given me one regimen. It was like blue vervain and the Maya to help build my blood. Because when I went down there, my blood count was like at 7.
Oh.
When I came back, it was 12.
Okay.
Like it was some intense stuff down there. But for a couple of days, I followed her regimen. I believe Dr. Sebi was in Morocco. Like he wasn't there when I first got there.
Okay.
When he got there, we all went to his house. He lived in this beautiful glass. The house was glass. You could see in from outside.
Right.
And when you go in, like the ceiling is glass too. So like you would see birds just like
coming stars down. And all of that.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So we all sitting in the room, and there's I'll find a video so I can send it to you. I have a recording of it, but there was this one young lady. She got the best recording and she put it on her YouTube of the entire conversation. She had the best like angle and all of that. So I'm gonna find that link and send it to you. But we were like sitting out there waiting for him to come out of his room. And in my mind, Dr. Sebi was gonna be like Gandhi, right? He was gonna have this robe on. He was gonna be like, oh, Hamdi Alam. I don't know what I thought he was gonna be doing. And he came out and he was like, oh, my niggas. And I was like, oh. I was like, he played this jazz music and he came out to the music and he was dancing. And I was like, oh my God. And I just kept looking at him like he was just so tall.
Mm-hmm.
He was so tall and he greeted everybody and he sat in his chair. And when he sat, he crossed his leg, but his legs were so long and skinny that they like wrapped around
each other. Yeah.
It was like, it was just insane. It was insane. It was insane. Like I still have the visual. And he started telling us about his journey, about, you know, how he became who he was, how the women in his life, you know, had contributed to, you know, like who he was today, his first wife. Like he went in. And then his daughter came. And the youngest, mind you, when I went there, his youngest daughter, what was her name? Oh my God, it's gonna come to me. But she was about 4 or 5, I think. Taiwa was her name. Okay. And I was like, yo, he like 81 years old. What he doing with this little girl? He told us a story about how he had the child, and, you know, all of that. But one of the most profound moments was he was really teaching her. So like, you know, he would say, she was standing next to him and he would say, Taiwa, if somebody comes with diabetes, what do we do? And she would break down the whole regimen, right? Because like he had imparted that stuff into her. And it was just so like dope to watch. He talked about his mom. He talked about like all the celebrities that he had, you know, encountered. He spoke about Left Eye and his relationship with her. And it was just like, it was so powerful. You know, and I asked him, I was like, because he opened up the thing he was so relatable. And he said, I don't want anybody to pay to come here. He started this thing called the Bolinga group. I don't know if it's in existence yet or now or whatever, but it was a group, he said, to create a space where people didn't have to pay to come to Usha Village. He didn't like the idea of people paying to be healed. Right. He said, that's a human right. Right. So that was something he was working on, and just hearing him talk. And it was just like, it was just so amazing. And I was like, Dr. Sebi, I was told that I can't have the alkaline water. And he was like, what? Who told you that? And he was like, you need to be drinking more of it for that baby, right? Like you need to drink more of it. Get the girl some alkaline water. And I was like, what about weed? So he was like, smoke.
My man.
But the one thing he did tell us was, he said, I don't believe in ciphers.
Okay, yeah, no, smoke by yourself.
You should never share your, you know, like puff and pass. I don't do that. Right. So we used to be, after that day, it was a smaller group of us that he used to let come back to his house, like in the evening times. And we would stay in his room, literally at the foot of his huge, like California king size bed, and stay in his bed on the floor. Like we would just all be strewn out everywhere, smoking our individual weed. He'd be smoking his weed, telling us stories about, because Prince had passed away when I was down there. Oh, and he was very close to Prince. And he kept saying like, he didn't overdose. Prince didn't even believe in taking, you know, drugs and blah, 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 blah. He was really touched by that. And one of the questions that like we had asked him, like, was like, what do you think about when you think about God? Like, what's your idea of God? Right? And this was my first time ever hearing a Black man say this. And he said, when I think about God, I think about a very dark complected, naked Black woman running through the jungle.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He said that, I was like, wow. That is like just the dopest thing ever. And I got my sight back. He changed up my regimen. He added the honey to my regimen. I was putting honey into my eyes in the evenings.
Okay.
And I got my sight back in like 6 days. I remember the day I got my sight back because it was a day after he gave everybody mushrooms, except for me. I was pissed. He told my psychedelic, he gave everybody mushrooms. Mushrooms were like one of the remedies he would use for people that had any kind of neurological or like nerve or spine or anything like that. So he had these mushrooms, and he like had them in a thing, and he would give them to each person so that they can have their own experience. And I came ready with my hand out like, yeah, I'm about to get some shrooms. And he was like, I don't think so. Yeah. He said, you're pregnant. He said he gave it to one pregnant woman, but he said he didn't feel comfortable because he didn't know what the effect on the fetus might be.
Right.
I was so salty. Like, I was salty. But I was like, yeah, okay, fine.
Hold that thought one moment. We're going to take a pause for the cause for a second. I'm going to pause 1 second. I gotta go let the lady in real quick. I'll be right back. All right. Yes, recording in progress. So
he gave everybody the shrooms, and I watched. That was the dope part. Me watching everybody go through their experience.
Right.
There was this one gentleman there who I stayed connected to even after we all kind of stayed connected actually, but he was there for like back and like spine and back issues.
Okay.
And so one of the things that happened to him was because of what he was dealing with, he hadn't cried in a long time, like for years. And he cried for the first time. Like, he had a reconnect with his dead, passed away, transition grandma. Right. And he cried, right? Some other girl, like everybody was going through their own like situation in their own world. It was like a beautiful thing to watch. But after a while, I mean, when you're the only sober one at a party, it kind of get boring after a while. So
a little bit.
I went into my little house or whatever, and I took it down because, the pregnancy had also had me like, out of it. Right. And being out in the dark, because I was still not seeing properly, still gave me some anxiety. So I go in and I fall asleep early the next morning. It had to be like 4 or 5 in the morning. Somebody's knocking on my door. And I'm like, first of all, I'm at this point, like 8 weeks pregnant. Like, I'm just like not in the mood for shit. Like, so I jump up, I'm like, who is it? And it was my friend Antoinette, who was also a person down there getting their own healing. And she was like, come on, girl, it's an emergency. Come out, I need you. Nobody else is up. I know you up. Come on. I go open my door. She's like, come on, I want you to go look up, because it's like in the middle of the jungle. Usha Village. Like, when you look up, all you see are mountains and jungle. She's like, can you see up there? Like, I think I see a mountain lion or something. Like, and I was like, Antoinette, it's gotta be like 5 in the morning. Like, I don't want to be doing this right now, but whatever. I looked up and I was like, that ain't no mountain lion. I look like a bear or a panda. I forgot what I said to her, but it wasn't what she said. Right. And I was like so annoyed. And then she all of a sudden said, oh, you can see. And I was like, oh shit, I could see. Like, I was so annoyed that I didn't even realize I could see. And that was the day I got my sight back. And I was like, oh my God, I could see. Everybody came out their huts because, because I was pregnant and because of what was going on. I was kind of like the baby of the
project. Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't come back fully, but it was clear. Like, there were patches that had cleared up significantly. Right. And I was like, wow, this is super fucking powerful. And then they wanted me to go get the baby checked out because I had never had a sonogram, not even in America, because I was so early along. And so we went to a different part of, not Usha Village, but like deeper into the town where the hospital was. And I can tell you the hospitals, I don't care what they say about third world countries, that hospital was immaculate. I believe it. I mean, like, it was on the level, past the level of a Cornell Presbyterian. Like, I was very impressed. And I paid $50 for the doctor visit and the sonogram. And I think she gave me some vitamins or something like that. It was $50, the whole visit.
Wow.
And I didn't speak Spanish. So I took Dr. Sebi's niece went with me to the doctor. So, you know, kind of helped translate and whatnot. And my vision was still kind of, you know, like not fully back yet.
Right.
So I'm on the table, she's doing the sonogram. And I look up and I see Evelyn. I'm like, Evelyn, what's good? Because she's talking to Spanish. And I'm like, I don't know what the doctor's saying. Is the baby alive? Like, what's going on? And she said, oh, that's my uncle's birthday. I was like, what? She said, the due date is my uncle's birthday. I said, what uncle? She said, Dr. Sebi. I said, oh, shit, look at that. I couldn't wait to tell him. Right? My due date was 11/26. And that was his birthday. And the crazy part is that's the birthday he never saw. Because that was the year he got killed. Right? And so I go back to the village. I'm like, Dr. Sebi, guess what? Yeah. Yes. Yes, Frank.
We'll touch that. All right. Okay. We gotta go.
He was like, I was like, Dr. Sebi, the baby's gonna be born on your birthday. Guess what? He's like, yep, it's gonna be you're gonna have a powerful girl. I was like, oh man, my oldest was giving me problems. I don't want no more girls. My son is just so perfect. He don't give me no problems. He's just quiet. You know, like I need another boy. Right. And he was like, nope, that's going to be a powerful girl. And I remember I was like, if this is going to be a girl, I'll name her Usha. Like I said it just like that, very matter of factly, like.
You do.
Exactly. And then I had my birthday, my 31st birthday I had down there. And they threw me a big alkaline Usha Village surprise party. And as a present for my birthday, he told me I could come back for 2 weeks with my family to the village. And I was like, all right, when I come back, I'm gonna let you know if you were right or not, if it's gonna be a girl, right? And we had spoken about a couple of things. He said that he wanted to go to Africa. I forgot exactly where in Africa, but he said he didn't like how the African people were eating, that they were eating too many root vegetables that they had learned from the white man or something like that.
Right, potatoes,
yeah, like he wanted to get them back into the alkalinity, and you know, he wanted to take a scientist with him to help him document and catalog the herbs that were indigenous there, so that he can figure out, what medicines he can like, what were analogous, right?
Right.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have Usha strapped to my back next year. We going Kenya. That's where he went. Kenya. That's where it was. And I was like, I'm coming. Like, it's me. I'm the scientist. And he was like, no problem. But he was such a cool dude. Like, you know who he reminded me of? You seen Training Day?
Yeah. He
reminded me of a little bit of Denzel's character in Training Day. That, like, his laugh.
Yeah.
Was like thunder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
booming voice.
Yeah.
Resonates power.
Right?
Resonates.
Like, my nigga. That's how he spoke. I was like, oh my God, Dr. Sebi is hood. I love it.
Well, where was he from? He was from New York, wasn't he?
Yeah. Like, he had a lot of different roots in different places, like Haiti, and so it shouldn't have surprised me. But in my mind, when you think of somebody and like you hear these tales of them,
legends,
your own. Yeah. So when I met him, and he was just so chill, and he loved people, and he loved healing, and he like really respected and honored and loved the Black woman, like no man I've ever come across,
right? Like
genuinely, like truly honored and acknowledged the Black woman, right? And so I left Usha Village the beginning of May. I was there for 5 weeks.
Okay.
I left Usha Village and I came back. And, I kept on with my prenatal appointments, blah, 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 blah. And I went to the doctor one day for this, like the sonogram to like see the gender and all that. And lo and behold, girl. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm gonna have to name her Usha now. So I said it. So I'm gonna have to name her Usha now.
Gotta do it, yeah.
And so fast forward, I'm like, I can't wait to go back to Usha Village to tell Dr. Sebi, because, he gave me the 2 weeks to come back with my family. I can't wait to go back. And a couple of weeks later, I get a phone call from, I think it was on Instagram or on WhatsApp, from his niece. And she's like, my uncle's in prison. And I was like, Dr. Sebi, we're in New York? Like, she was like, no, in Rotan. Rotan is...
in Africa.
No, it's in Honduras.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the when you fly into Honduras, you can fly into like one part, or you can fly into Rotan.
Okay.
So Rotan is like another side, like it's like a beachy side of Honduras, right?
Touristy side.
Right. So like that's where he flew in. So he had flown from California with, I guess, the money he picked up, because remember his company was also in Cali.
Right.
So he plus the banks, and I guess he had his physical money on him with his bodyguard. I forgot his name. And they both got arrested for like money laundering or something like that. And I was like, what? For laundering his own money? Like, where did they do that at? Wow. And I remember hearing like there was like a law in Honduras that like, if you're over 65, you can't like go to prison or something. Right. Like they just didn't do it. So that was like strange to me. But then I wasn't hearing about it on the news, which further made me feel like if Dr. Sebi, who's healed all of these celebrities, he's world renowned, is unjustly put in jail.
This media would never publish that, because you got to think about it now. Think about where we're at here in America. What are the commercials that are on for any news joint? Pharmaceutical companies, like Latuda, fucking Zilsta, like everything. Like they fucking
they weren't even talking about it down there.
Yeah, see, that's crazy.
It was almost a thing where they were like telling the workers like not to talk about, which it just was very confusing to me. And I have to tread lightly here because of other stuff, but it just didn't make any sense to me. And then I was like, damn, he's not going to be good in there, because like he's probably going to fast. You know what I'm saying? He's probably not going to eat what they give him. He's probably, like they're probably not going to let, and that was the thing, they weren't letting the family bring him food and, all this other stuff. So it was kind of like, it felt conspiracy-ish, right? Uh-huh. And then fast forward, I'm thinking like he got to be out by now, but now I'm like hearing that he's still in prison. Now it's kind of like hitting the fan, but it's weeks after he's already been in there.
Right.
And then I get the next phone call in August, and it was like she was crying, and I was like, what happened? She's like, he's dead. And I was like, what? Like, that's not even possible. Like, in my mind, I couldn't even fathom that he was dead. And I'm like, but how? And I'm like, pneumonia. Mucus killed Dr. Sebi. Come on.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Come on.
Mucus. I was like, just like, it was crazy. Like, I remember that was like one of the first days that Usha really moved in my womb. Yeah. Was when I found out that he had, that he passed.
Right.
Right. And then I was trying to get down there for the funeral, but I was a high-risk pregnancy. And so other people that were down there with me, they went back down to go to his funeral. And I saw some footage, and for some reason, the picture of him in the casket and the video of him being put in the ground totally got wiped from my Google Drive. Totally got wiped from my Google Drive. And the person I sent it to me on WhatsApp. And WhatsApp saves like everything. All of your stuff, because I have it set up that way. I can go on WhatsApp now and go back years. Like that's what takes up most of the data on my phone. WhatsApp saves all of these, like videos. But for some reason and I've sent it to people, but I can't find it anywhere.
Well, let me tell you.
On this particular footage, the crazy thing is, as they're putting him into the ground, the skies opened up and started pouring.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like it was like the visual of that was unreal to me. And then it was like there was no autopsy, which is like, I was like, if I'm the family of this man, I want the autopsy done.
I want an autopsy.
The funeral was so quick. Like some people didn't even make it on time, because they had said like it was going to be on one day, but then they had it on the 2 days. I think it was supposed to be on a Friday, but then they did it on a Wednesday. So people that flew down for Friday missed it. Like all it was.
I'm way too much of a skeptic.
Listen, it was a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense to me. At the end of all of it, though, it was just like, wow, like we really lost. You know what I'm saying? Like a powerful entity. And when it sunk in that I was one of the last people that he healed, it was also like, whoa, like it was, and it still is utterly unreal, And he told me that my little girl, Usha, was going to be like a healer, and she was gonna be so dynamic and powerful. And yo, Frank,
is she?
She's
I'm asking like I don't know. Like,
yo, I think my social media know Usha more than they know me at this point. Like,
that's fair.
Yeah, she's something, and she remembers him. She told me about, like, she tells me things that she shouldn't know, like from when I was in Usha Village when she was just in my tummy. Like, she has a very deep connection with him.
That's that energy, man.
There you go. Like, very, very, very deep, you know. But I'm so grateful for him, for like, we had a lot of conversations about me and like who I am, and you know, like my ability to heal myself and believe in myself, and like he gave me permission to be myself. Right. It wasn't just about the healing. You know, I was grateful to get my sight back.
Right.
But I got a vision, right? That sight, you know what I'm saying? Like is like a speck when you think about the sight versus the vision. And I was grateful for the vision because, see, science told me that I was going to be blind forever. I'm a scientist, and science said to me, this is a chronic condition. Columbia told me I had to pretty much quit because I couldn't stay on short-term disability for much longer because it was a chronic condition. I lost my good insurance when I left there. So I ended up in the clinic, which is a whole different experience than having a good doctor, you know? But science pretty much told me that it was a wrap for me, right? And when I went to see Dr. Sebi, AKA Mother Earth, AKA nature, AKA divine energy, told me and showed me different. So when I came back to America, I've had many opportunities to like make a shitload of money doing a lot of things in the science world. But I can't do that and honor who I am now. Right. You get what I'm saying? Like I can't get absorbed in that world because it just wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be right.
It just wouldn't be right.
It wouldn't be right for your spirit. It wouldn't be right for your mind. Knowing what you know, knowing what you know now,
all of that.
You're always going to remember those mice.
Always.
Those mice are the inciting incident to everything that you've now accomplished. You know what I'm saying? And this was shit. I spoke to you, that was 2015 maybe, in Starbucks. Something like that. Like, it was Starbucks. Like, and just like, we worked at fucking Aegis. Like that, you know what I mean? No. We didn't, you know, we saw the insurance side of shit. So you know how that go.
That's what actually helped me understand certain things about what was happening to me when I, you know, with my insurance, when I lost my vision, understanding about, because they wouldn't pay for
prior authorizations. It
was a roller coaster, you know, and there was a space of time where I had given up, you know, like I was on some like, I'm not going to kill myself, but if it happens. You know, and I could like laugh about it now. And whoever's like listen to this and are in a certain space, like just know that I'm not laughing at that.
No, I know, like
I'm laughing at, you know,
just
like
that idea. Think about it. That idea is so foreign to you now. You know what I'm saying? That it is laughing.
And I go back to it, you know, like I go back to that place to kind of remind myself, but
stay
like
humble.
I'm a scientist, you know, if I was a singer, it'll be different. I could still sing and be blind, right? I can't be a scientist and be blind. I can't be the mother that I want to be with my kids blind. Well, you know what I mean? I can't do anything.
Stephen Hawking was a theoretical physicist and he could just do nothing. So don't say you can't do it. You could do something.
In my mind, I couldn't do it the way that I knew that I wanted to do it. And I didn't want to figure out how to do it, you know, because when you've already had a life of, you know, like strife, and it's like how much more, you know, like how much more I'm you know, you get tired of having to like learn how to like circumvent shit, learn how to do something differently. I just
tired of surviving. Tired of just surviving.
I didn't want to survive. I wanted to live. And you know, it was hard to go from making X amount of money at Columbia and then making nothing. Savings was in $30,000 zone when I started going blind. Savings dwindled down to the zero.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still paying credit cards off now that I maxed out blind just to pay rent and, cover things.
Yeah.
And when I got my sight back and I came back to New York, I feel like I took off running. Like I was like, oh God, anything could happen at any moment. Let me do this, 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 let me do this. And I never really took time to like honor my own journey.
Right.
Like how many people do you know that could say I was blind, but now I see? Like that's a song, but like that don't really be happening.
Not in real life,
right?
no.
Right. So like I said, you know what? I need to really honor this. Like I really need to be patient with myself. I really need to give myself a break, from the weight of having to do all of these things. But I realized my urgency came from me feeling like it was going to get taken away again. Like, what if I go blind tomorrow? Let me do everything I can today. And so when I came back though, because the doctors had told me, you're going to need these injections for life and blah, 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 blah. And when I left, my vision was 20/50. I took my glasses down there. When I came back to New York, I didn't wear my glasses. I didn't need them. I still don't really need them. Like if I wear them, it's because I feel a certain strain. Like I feel strain in my eyes, and I'll feel, if I'm on the computer too much or if I'm doing too much, I'll feel the pressure in my eye sockets, and it'll let me know I need to pump my brakes. But I don't use glasses anymore.
Do you still do the same regimen you were doing down there now, or do you like
the herbs,
vitamins like or
the blue vervain and stuff like that? I don't, but I still have the honey. And I still put it in my eyes. I don't put it in every day.
What do you do? Dilute it and then drop it in, or?
No, it's already. Hold on, I'm gonna show you. So this was, it's so crazy that this is the year of the 9 for me, right? Being 36, year of completion, new beginnings, all of that. And I totally forgot that that's the room I was in too. Do you see that?
I can't really make, oh, there you go. Oh yeah, now shit. Nice. Okay.
So this is the eye wash.
Okay.
And then there's also
alkaline water, honey, and
the honey. And so this comes straight from Usha. So whenever people are going down there, I always ask them, like, can you bring me back some honey for my eyes? Because what I'm hearing now too is that they don't, the stuff that you take is not included in the price anymore. So a lot of things, and I won't, speak on it here right this second, but there are a lot of things that have changed there. When I went down there before, whatever you needed while you were there was already included with whatever you paid. I'm hearing now that you have to like buy your medicine on top of your room and board, which is crazy to me. But, and I could be wrong, but that's what I've been hearing.
It's possible that there maybe what I would think is if there's that going on, perhaps they're not making as much as they were because of how everything went down. And of course,
no, they making.
I'm sure, I just seen them on the Breakfast Club. Shit, they're making. Yeah.
They're making. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
My spirit is telling me to pause on this right now.
There you go. Don't worry about it. So
I'll pause on it. What's understood don't need to be said.
Right, but I'll close on that portion just by saying this. Dr. Sebi apparently was no fraud. He damn sure helped somebody.
No, he was not a fraud at all.
It
wasn't just me.
Yeah, and if you're still questioning it, stop.
Listen, you know what I'm saying? I have no problem sharing my story. There are at least 10 other people that I'm still in contact with that I was there with that I watched get healed.
Right.
I'm talking from like eczema to hep C to stage 4 cancer.
Right.
There was a man there that was in stage 4 cancer. He was from Togo, I believe, in Africa.
Yeah.
And he got diabetes. I watched a man he lost 52 pounds in 2 weeks. And it was just like we were tying up tying up his jeans with like rope because none of his clothes fit anymore.
Oh, I know that feeling right now. I'm listen, I was 275 at one point just a few years back. Like even in 2015, I was pretty heavy then. I'm now 190. And I try and eat as alkaline as humanly possible, because once I learned about Dr. Sebi, it was like, all right, well, now let's do a little bit of research. What is he recommending to eat here? What's this? So I ain't gonna lie. My ultimate goal is to be as self-sufficient as humanly possible. So that's why I started my gardening and greenhouse and the raised bed. And, I want to learn how to hunt because I eat meat. Fuck it. I'm eating meat. But
there's a lot of fucked up vegans out there, right? So my thing is, why are you a vegan, right? Some people say, well, it's the cruelty to animals and and all this other stuff. My rebuttal to that, and I'm somebody like, my kids are vegan. That's my choice as a parent for them. Right. And I teach them certain things that, they understand why. Sometimes when they go somewhere else and they eat something they shouldn't eat, their bodies react violently. And then that in turn also lets them know why I say what I say. This is the experiment. This is why, right? But I eat fish every now and then. I'm from an island, I eat what I want to eat. But people that say the whole like, oh, cruelty to animals, I'm like, science has proven that plants feel pain. When you pull that spinach leaf off of the mother, you know what I'm saying? The mother spinach, the plant feels that. It's that I said the difference being that plants don't bleed the way that we bleed. So when you see it, it's not recognizable as pain because you're not seeing what you call blood, right? So it's not like relating to you where it's like flesh.
You want to hear something funny? In my mind, I grow plants and I treat them well because in my mind, I'm like, what would happen if poison ivy was real and she could fucking hear what I'm doing to them? It's a crazy thing, but I always think like, every plant is deeply rooted and connected to every other plant, but they're also deeply connected to us. You know what I'm saying? And to the animals. Like it's a natural cycle.
And if you have acidic thoughts, I don't care how much alkalinity you put in your body, then it's not. You're
still going to be a toxic son of a bitch.
Right. So I don't, I like the word plant-based versus like vegan because there are a lot of unhealthy vegans out there. My thing is if you, as far as what the body needs, like if you are more plant-based than not, then I say do it, like go for it. Right. Because some vegans got a whole bunch of bread on their plate and a whole bunch of, but that stuff is not necessarily, that's not healthy. That's still processed, whatnot.
That's just glucose and sugar. And, that's nothing good.
All the stuff that Black people need.
Don't even get me on that soul food shit. Like, hey, but it's funny. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I've never had mac and cheese in my life. And people think I'm crazy. I've never had a cheeseburger.
Don't do it. It's the devil. It's the devil. Don't do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. No, I will not drink a glass.
It is an addictive devil.
Of milk. Like, you couldn't, like, I won't do it. Like, these are things, but I've been that way since I was a kid. And instinctively just knew I don't want to eat that. That's gross. It stinks. It looks weird. It's orange. I'm not fucking with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But everybody I know is like, that's crazy. It's so good. I'm like, because you're addicted to it. It releases the same dopamine, like as if you shot crack, smoke crack.
But it's also, but you know what it is too? It's the morphine.
Right.
Like all mammals have morphine in their breast milk is what helps them connect to their young. And make their young calm and put them in a certain space, right? So us as women, like humans, we have morphine in our breast milk as well. But imagine a cow, right? A cow has much more morphine just by nature of how much bigger it is than us, right? So the cow's milk and the level of morphine in it is appropriate for the calf.
Not for a human.
Right. So now imagine with cheese. Cheese is not just, it's very addictive. It's addictive because of the morphine in there. So now it takes, I think, 10 gallons of cow's milk to make 10 pounds of cow's milk to make 1 pound of cheese or something like that. It just means it's super concentrated in the cheese. So imagine how much morphine, you get what I'm saying?
and then you add shit like cortisol and
Right.
all the other hormones that they feel, because they're still mammals, and they're
Right.
still like, and that's the thing, because I think people have this misconception that since animals can't speak to us with verbiage, that they don't feel the same things we feel. But shit, if they push out a baby calf, that mother feels the love for that calf. So when you take it to make veal out of it, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when you start pulling out too much milk and making her produce,
right? Like, come on, man. When the last time a human milked a damn cow? Come on now.
Right.
Look. Think about it like this: we treat fucking cows like so much shit. We don't even have an actual name for them. They're just cow.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? A male cow is a bull. What the fuck is a female cow? Just a cow.
She's just regular.
just bovine. You just bovine creature. But
I'm not a judger when it comes to that, because it's, you know, I just care about the person, the intention, and all that. I'm not in no vegan cult. Right. It ain't a vegan cult over here.
Right. Well, but that brings me into your company. I mean, we know you do the homeschooling, you got the Wakanda village, you know what I'm saying? You're doing the thing, Wakanda family. Right. But you also have the company, and I always say this is Xanthine's Cafe, because that's the fuck I know it as, and I love that name. With an X, y'all, with the X. I mean, always with the X.
That's right.
That's you have a line of all natural products that have no parabens, no BPA, no BFA, no sucralose, no high fructose corn syrup, no dimethicone, no PE and G40, no red number 40, no copolymer.
All of that.
Like all that shit. And when I tell people about these things, I tell people, I credit you with this knowledge, like, because I used to work at Ricky's in New York, and to tell people what those chemicals in these shampoos and conditioners do to, you know, it was a lot easier once I knew, well, this, like this, you know. But now I tell people, like, when I use the deodorant, right? I put it on Monday after shower, and I could shower all week and didn't have to put it on again until like Thursday. Like, but it still smelled fresh and lemongrassy. It was still good. You know what I'm saying? The toothpaste was like, I still have the jar too. I actually still have that jar. Oh. I save everything. But that, like, the remineralizing toothpaste and all that, like, you've moved into like elderberry gummies, and I seen you had a what was it, lavender and lemon, a laundry detergent or something. Now you got
soap. Gotta say soap.
Oh, I'm sorry, laundry soap.
Detergent. Soap. Yeah, detergent is synthetic.
That's true.
Detergent came out after World War II when soap was hard to find.
3M.
So that's another thing I try to help people understand too. Like, even the words of things. Like, there's no such thing a natural detergent. That's like an oxymoron. Yeah. So I make hand soap, dish soap, laundry soap.
My friend Shakira, she has a line of these fabulous teas and detox teas and everything, and she's a iridologist. So she's her profession is to look at your eyes and diagnose your problems.
Yep.
So she's and I swear to God, I got to get the two of you together.
I would love to.
I got to get the two of you together, because she's probably one of the other smartest people I've ever known. But the two of y'all together, well, the two of you together might actually fucking build an atom bomb or some shit.
I'm saying, like, I'm looking to build that tribe from Wakanda.
I'm just saying, you know, I'm always available for testing super soldier serums if you have one. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm all right. But I'm seeing things like I don't know if you know what CRISPR is, where they're like taking the neural pathways and redoing that. And then I know Elon Musk wants to do the Neuralink thing. Which is, you know, I think that's cool. I don't know if I really want people reading my mind, but that's either here or there. But how you started this company after you came back?
No, I started this company before that. I got serious about it when I came back.
Okay.
Yeah, I started this company, I would say probably a year before I went blind.
Okay.
Like, because when I was at John Jay, I graduated John Jay in 2013. And when I was in my like third year, that's the year you start really learning, because my concentration is toxicology.
Right.
So at the time, I think it's different now, but at the time you can pick 3 different concentrations. You could pick molecular biology, you could pick toxicology, or you could pick criminalistics. I knew I didn't want to work with the popo. So I picked toxicology because the idea was to go right into medicine and become an ME.
Okay.
And I like drugs. I never did drugs. I didn't start smoking weed till I started going blind. But I was always fascinated by drugs, right? But in any case, in that year, I started learning about the ingredients, about like how to read science words, and like what did it mean exactly? Like, what are esters, and what are hydroxyl groups? And when I see them on things, what does it mean? And how does it affect the body? Things like that. And I was like, wait a minute, this stuff looks familiar. So I started looking at all of my, products that I was using. I'm like, whoa, this is bad.
Right.
As you start, I'm like, oh my, like, it's like real bad. And now my grandmother had gotten diagnosed with breast cancer a couple of years prior. And she was like one of the healthiest people I knew. Like, she still kind of ate like we were back home. Right. And so I couldn't understand like where that came from. But then I started thinking about like her deodorants and her antiperspirants, because she was always somebody that was big on like not sweating, but she would sweat a lot. Right. She always had like deodorants and antiperspirants all over her house and in her bag and all of that. And I wondered if there's a connection there. And I started doing more research, because I'm like, well, your armpit is like right by your breast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's tissue. Like when you put something on your skin, it gets absorbed into your skin in like 15, 20 seconds. So over time, if these ingredients are so bad, where do they go? Right. When you put them on, like, where are they going? They can only go in the body. And once they accumulate in the body, if something is a neurotoxin, using it one time might not be an issue, but over time, it's going to build up, right? It's like an overload in your body of all of these things. And I was like, wow. So the first product I ever created was a deodorant. Right. I done had 10, 20 different formulas for that. God bless the people that were my guinea pigs, because I just wanted to, I was like, wow, there's a connection here. Then they came out with the stats about Black women being, predisposed to breast cancer and being 3 times as likely to do this. And I was like, wait a minute.
Well, that's because we use the name brand, Soft Secret, Axe,
I started looking at
Spice, whatever it be.
Like fragrance. I'm like, all of that. I've never liked perfume. I was never a perfume person, never liked sprays. Strong smells always were very difficult for me to be around. I never liked hugging people because their perfume would come off on me and then I would smell it for the rest of the day, because my sense of smell is extremely sensitive, and it got more sensitive when I went blind. Like my other senses,
your senses
definitely heightened after that.
Daredevil style.
I ain't there yet, but yeah, a little bit. I can't see people in the rain or nothing like that with my eyes closed, but it's close enough. But I would like specifically the phthalates. Like, so anytime you see fragrance on as an ingredient,
isn't that ambergris?
It's like
whale phlegm, or is it cat urine?
That could be, it could be, because it's like, sometimes it's like up to 1,000 different chemicals that they put together to create this desired scent.
Right.
And what they do to make the chemicals like stay on you, or sometimes the chemicals themselves are what they call phthalates. And phthalates are PHTHALATES, a weird science word, but they're essentially endocrine disruptors. And the endocrine system is responsible for all of our hormones. It's why somebody's fat versus skinny, right? Why somebody has a period versus not, why somebody can be fertile versus not. Hormones are responsible for quite a lot of, if not all of our functions, right? And so once you disrupt that, certain things can happen, like girls getting their periods too young, right?
Growing breasts at 9 for no
Boys
fucking
growing
reason.
breasts at 9, right?
Yeah.
And so I started seeing all of these different connections, and I'm like, whoa, the stuff that we eating, the stuff in the stores in our neighborhoods, plus the products. Victoria's Secret always got a sale, Bath and Body Works always got a sale, like the spraying, the Febreze, the like all of this stuff together, like little by little. It's like not, it's kind of
what we used to call CFCs. Remember that? CFCs and shit.
CFCs.
You don't remember that? That's what they used to call. All right. So when I was a kid, and they used to talk about the ozone layer. So, they used to tell us that CFCs from hairsprays and all these perfumes were the cause. And I don't know, I don't know what the fuck CFCs were, but they were the.
It's valid.
Yeah, man. But you don't hear about the ozone layer no more.
It's probably gone. Who knows?
I believe that.
But it's like, you see all these connections to things in your own life. Like you see your own daughter getting her period at 9, or you see, like all of these things, and you're like, there's a connection here. And so I started telling all of my friends and family like that would listen, because it's like a psychologist. You go into school for psychology, all of a sudden you want to diagnose people. Oh, I think you're bipolar. I think you're this, right? Now I'm like, you shouldn't use that deodorant anymore. You should probably put that in fact, just clear out everything. That they don't want to
listen to you.
And the crazy part is, after all, some people did like receive the information, but the obvious next question was, what am I supposed to use instead?
Exactly.
Right. And that was the part that I couldn't respond to, because I didn't have a brand that I could give them. I mean, Burt's Bees had just been sold to Clorox. Clorox owns Burt's Bees. And I'm like, damn, I don't really have a company that I could really stamp my approval on. Carol's daughter had already gone with the white folks, you know what I mean? So it was like, and I said to myself, wait a minute, you're a toxicologist. If no one else, why can't you? You know what is toxic and what is not toxic to the body, and you can educate people. But it was a whole new realm for me, it's a different in the lab type thing,
Right.
And so it started out with deodorant, and had a lot of guinea pigs. And then after a while, people started asking for more things. So now they want to keep replacing things in their house. So now it's like, oh, you make body wash? I'm like, I don't, but I can. Right. Do you make toothpaste? I don't, but I kind of know what I would put in one if I made one. Right. Do you make, and after a while, it was a product after product after product. Now there's I believe there's 34 products.
Yeah.
Line. There's different scents, and now there's a whole section for women's womb health. And I became certified to do vaginal and, yoni steaming, and I'm an herbalist now, so all of as I learned more, I put all of my knowledge into the products.
What is an herbalist?
You know what I mean? And then I started thinking about men, and I'm like, an herbalist. So I'm an herbalist is just somebody that has learned how to use herbs holistically for healing.
Oh yeah, then you definitely need to talk to Shakira, because that's what she does.
Yeah. So each herbalist usually has their own niche.
Yeah.
So my niche is womb wellness.
Okay. Well, she has a few different ones. She has one for respiratory health. She has one for cardiovascular. She has one she calls the King's Tonic. It's for guys.
Nice.
What I'm saying? But she also has one for the queens. She has a Queen's Tonic. But they're just
I would love to connect with her. Yeah, because I'm always on a learning journey. People ask me for. Most of my products come from people asking for stuff. And I started doing more in the women's education. Women don't know about their own bodies. I started teaching certain classes called the Vagina Dialogues to help women connect with their bodies, help teach men about their own bodies and about women's bodies. And it's still a learning journey for me. People come to me for a lot of reasons, and I'm appreciative, because every time they come and I don't know something, or I feel like I need to know more, it sends me on a learning journey of my own that I can then use to help more people. So it's kind of like constantly, I never get comfortable, because I know that I don't have enough years to learn everything, but I'm gonna try to learn as much as I possibly can, right? But it usually comes from a need in the community. Right. Somebody will say, you know what, I'm having problems, conceiving. And so one of the things that I do with my female clients, with the vaginal steaming, is that I have now 8 babies that, well, 4 that were already born and 4 women pregnant that, that are my clients that have done that through, womb wellness and vaginal steaming and, health education and hygiene and all that good stuff, so that's my goal, to constantly like create space for healing for like Black people, whether that's women, men, families, children, whatever. And then when I recently became a minister, somebody asked me, they were like, minister, like,
oh, you can officiate a wedding, right?
I can officiate a wedding.
Oh, good. I might need
anything.
You.
I got the clergy.
I might need you soon.
Yes, I would love to. Like, and I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't go together? I said, it goes with everything that I'm doing. You just don't see it in a certain way. I said, so I'm a scientist, so I can't be a minister. Right. So yeah, you can put me in the box if you want to. I'm not saying that shit. But it's like everything that I do is to create and proliferate spaces of love for my people. Like that's my ultimate goal, whether that's with children, like with Camp Wakanda, whether that's with women loving on their bodies more so that they can express themselves to their partners in a loving way, whether that's men teaching them how dope they are so that when they enter a space, you know what I'm saying, they're entering the space with a different level of self-awareness, right? Whether it's a couple that now see each other differently because I've helped them do that, right? So now they can go make babies and now we got more soldiers and you know what I mean? Like that's how I think, right? So everything that I do from the product line is about keeping us happy and healthy holistically, and then sprinkle it with a little science.
Well,
so that's always the goal.
Listen, you are an amazingly dynamic human being, and I have no doubt in my mind that your children are going to be the next leaders of the free world, or they're going to take it over. Either way, I'm cool with it. Just let them know, Uncle Frankie, we good. You know what I'm saying? We good. Listen, I keep you entertained. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, listen, Tamykah, I thank you ever so much, man, for doing this. And like I said, we're gonna get that discount code popping. We're gonna get this working.
Let me know. I will do that as soon as we get off. What do you want the code to be? Tell the people what you want it to be.
Frank, Starfire, STARFYRE, man. Come on.
Okay, you have to text that to me because my
brain
went somewhere else.
I got you. Don't worry about it.
Text it to me, but we'll have that going live tomorrow morning, and you can share it and proliferate. I'll also be sending you. I'll be sending you the cards. The
30 because
for the little people.
We'll put a link to that up as well because those are amazing. You. Like if you want to teach your kids about some of the dopest inventors in the game and just all sorts of great history, you can get the flashcards from her. So we're going to put that link in the description when I put the video up and all that. This is the Just to Be Frank podcast. Tamykah Anthony. I am, of course, Frank Starfire. I want to thank y'all ever so much for joining us, man. Appreciate you. One love. Abracadabra. Peace.
Peace, Ashe. Thank you, Frank.
Dear Queen, I appreciate you now. You're good.
Yeah.
And have a good one now.
All right, you too.
Later.